Testies 1, 2. What's up, guys? Hope you're well. We got Sweets, James, Daryl, APOC, and MJ. What's up, guys? Good evening over there on Discord. What's happening? I had some people dip just a second ago, but hello, shout out to the friends. Fred is here. Sweets. We got Brooks. How you guys doing? What's up, James again? Richard. What's up? What's up, Magavelli? How you doing? We've got who'd I miss? Mr. Mission Control. Yes, indeed. Gordo over there on Rumble, holding it down. How you doing, my friend? We got some lurkers on Rockfin. Getting ready to go here. 7:05 start time, as you guys know, and just doing the thing. What's up? Good evening. Good evening. What did I miss? Let's see. I think this damn YouTube formatting. Why does it do this? Okay. I guess we'll have to go off to all the other chat till I figure this out. Anyway, what's up? Kramos is here. How you doing, my friend? Good evening, guys. I see you there, Jeff and Wisco. Thanks for all the kind words in the Discord over the weekend. Appreciate it. You guys are the best, as you know. And we're going to go cosmic tonight. But maybe not. I mean, we'll see. We'll see where this leads, as usual. Non-linear, open-ended things can get weird. And, well, maybe not. So strap in. Hold on to your butts. Basically, what came before the beginning? What sort of primordial time existed before the Big Bang? That's the question. I see you guys in the chat. Who did I miss? Good evening, gals and ghouls. All right, here we go. Troubled Minds happening now.
But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
It was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
That's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1 0 1 1 1 0 1 1
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Got a wild one for you. You know me, when it comes to, well, challenging the very ends of our imaginations, okay? Well, of course, physics has been trying to do this for a very long time. The cosmology of the universe, the substrate of reality, these types of ideas, right? And you know me, I'm more interested in them from the esoteric perspective, because I think as we learn more and more about this, that the intuition of the ancients probably play a greater role in this than we ever dreamed. And the question really becomes when you start to think about the intuition of our ancestors, of the ancients, of ancient practices and ritual and all these things, right, that seemed nonsensical, that seemed, superstitious even, it seemed ridiculous and not worthy of anything other than a footnote or barely a footnote in history. I have a different idea. And the idea just means that I think our human intuition plays deeply, and I think many of us can attest to that. But then also that the intuition of our ancestors as part of that larger conversation is really what this is always about, and which is why I've kind of taken up the torch here, the mantle with all of you amazing people, to not forget the old ways. And so I think it's incredibly important. I talk about this a lot because it is one of the core principles of what we do on Troubled Minds. And it's, regardless of where you came from, or, ethnicity or country, or however you even perceive your identity, there's, we came from somewhere, and we came from a beautiful place that brought us here that was not always beautiful. There were, of course, twists and turns of history, ugliness, all the rest of the stuff that kind of goes into the trial and tribulations of being human. But then beyond that, clearly we're here, dare I say, for a reason. And it says it in the intro of the show there, you're here for a reason. It could mean multiple things. Of course, you're here for conspiracies, or we're here in this moment for a particular reason. And it's all been lined up through some sort of larger synchronicity engine, which is like, I don't know, how the substrate of reality might work. Well, you know me, and I like to think of these ideas. And I came across this article today, and it was from New Scientist. Its link's going to be in the description. Check it out. It is a subscription thing, so I'm not going to go through and read the whole article. I will break down the wild idea, though, which is this. It's new science, and it is talking about and dreaming of, scientifically, the substrate of reality itself. Now, check this out. So, straight from the thing, physicists have created, the headline is, "A cosmic shape could explain the fundamental nature of the universe." A cosmic shape. Okay, back to that sacred geometry bit a little bit, right? Cosmically. But they have a name for it. Now, this is pretty cool. Physicists have created a 3D shape called the cosmohedron. Yeah, doesn't that sound like some fantastic sci-fi movie or some gizmo that you strap in and put a helmet on and you're able to view into alternate realities or something? The cosmohedron, which can be used to reconstruct the quantum wave function of the universe and potentially do away with the idea of space-time as the underlying fabric of the universe. Now, we all know if you go back to Einstein and all the rest of that stuff, and time is a linear thing. It's also relative. It's wild to consider that is exactly the deal of space-time, and even the backbone of modern cosmology, okay, which traces all the way back to the Big Bang and the Big Crunch and all these different theories. Like I said, I'm not even sure which one I believe, to be perfectly honest. And as I always say, there's no truth to be found here. So I think belief doesn't really play in this conversation. Maybe go with our intuition of probabilities, which is always what I talk about here, probabilities themselves. But let's see, did I drag this over here? I'm going to just read it from the thing because it's better. This one's deep. This one is really deep, and it's got a lot of math, and you know me, I'm not a very good mathematician. Oh yeah, I've got it there. Okay, so these links are in the description down below, so if you want to check this out, follow along, read ahead, whatever you want to do, it's all there. Please check it out, the original source material, plus all of the wild ideas I brainstormed out of it. But basically this, starting from the top, the universe, as we perceive it, is built on a stage of space and time, a four-dimensional fabric woven by Einstein's relativity. But what if this stage is merely a shadow? A growing cadre of physicists argues that space-time itself is not fundamental, but a secondary layer emerging from something deeper, stranger, and far more abstract. Geometric shapes that encode the laws of reality without referencing dimensions, forces, or even particles. Now, how spooky does that sound? And the only thing that really came to mind when I first started trying to wrap my mind around what this meant is that, well, I don't know. It brings to mind the far realm from D&D. We've talked about that in the past. But anyway, so at the heart of this radical reimagining in the cosmohedron, this cosmohedron is what they're naming this thing, a mathematical object discovered by physicist Anima Akani Hamed and his collaborators. Unlike the smooth, continuous space-time of relativity, the cosmohedron is a jagged, multidimensional shape, a cosmic polyhedron whose geometry dictates the behavior of everything within the universe. To grasp its significance, we must first dismantle a century-old assumption that physics requires space-time as its foundation. Right? So what the hell does that mean? Look, I don't know, because basically we're dealing with the space-time as that basis for reality itself. And I've long talked about this as well with, which comes first, the arrow of time. We've discussed this quite a lot, retrocausality. If this stuff is actually real, then the how we perceive space and space-time itself is faulty. It's a broken idea. And we talked about this a couple nights ago with dark energy, dark matter, that bit. It seems like these placeholder forces that we don't know how to quantify cannot really measure other than infer from their kind of existence and how things move around them or whatever. So they are more placeholder ideas. And it seems that in this particular perspective that maybe we're dealing with space-time as a placeholder idea as well, because this gets deeper. And of course, I'm calling it for that reason, primordial time, the acoustic shadows of the beginning. Now, there's a lot that goes into that. Again, if you remember J.R.R. Tolkien, and if you ever read the Silmarillion, fantastic stuff. It's dense, it is deep. It is basically, it begins with nothing, the void, and then there was sound, and they're singing, and there's the original gods are singing in harmony, and right, it kind of gives you that acoustic shadow idea. But then, of course, as always, there's always discord, and in the discord, in the Tolkien cosmology of the Silmarillion, again edited by his son Christopher Tolkien. If you never read it, it's incredible. I do recommend it if you're and for a deep, dense read. I read it a long time ago, and I will not fib to you that I retained all of it because it is thick. It's like reading the Bible. But anyway, the point is that this idea of primordial time began before this space-time continuum we always talk about in sci-fi and everything else, and conceptual thinking as far as actual physics is concerned. Newtonian physics, all the rest, okay? So the question for you guys tonight as we begin is, do you think there was a period of time before time? And if so, what does that look like? And two, what about trying to imagine a cosmos without space-time itself. What does that look like? And what does your intuition tell you? Like I said, we don't have to be mathematicians. We don't have to be scientists or anything here to sort of conceptualize these ideas and think about what our intuition tells us. And maybe, just maybe, the intuition of our ancestors is part of our, well, just being human. But that's what's on my mind tonight. I hope you guys are all doing well. We're just going to hang out and talk about wild things. And I've got some other wild ideas to add, of course. But for now, we're going to take a quick break and get a word from our sponsor. In this case, that is Human Inspiration. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds coming up in exactly 1 minute. In a world increasingly shaped by AI, human inspiration remains the beating heart of creativity. Alien Skin by Tremble, a hauntingly beautiful piano ballad, reminds us that while algorithms can mimic art, the raw, unfiltered emotions of human experience are irreplaceable.
So here I sit, locked in my room again.
Written and composed by Jesse Ian in collaboration with Todd Smith, this progressive masterpiece delves into the depths of internalized grief and the silent toll of artistic compromise. As AI reshapes our reality, Alien Skin stands as a testament to the timeless power of human emotion and the complex beauty that only true artists can evoke. Experience the haunting beauty of Alien Skin by Tremble and support human inspiration. Available now on iTunes. And welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Let us continue, shall we? Okay, so for where did I start? Where did I finish? I'm going to read it from this thing because I usually don't just read it straight, but this is so dense I don't want to mess up the details. Again, back to the original article. New Scientist reported this today, or a couple days ago anyway. A cosmic shape could explain the fundamental nature of the universe, which is very sacred geometry, which is very, we talked about this recently as well, very, Platonic solids, except in a cosmic sense. And they've named this thing the what is it called? The cosmohedron. Now, how sick is that, right? Sounds like a next generation ride at Disneyland. Anyway, so for decades, physicists calculated particle interactions using equations rooted in space-time, as we've been talking about to start here. When particles collide, their outcomes, scattering amplitudes, were derived through grueling mathematics, often spanning thousands of lines of algebra. But in 2013, Arkani Hamid's team found a shortcut. They replaced equations with associahedra. Now, I'm not going to try and pretend I even understand what the hell this means, but it's there in the Wikipedia if you got any mathematicians out there. But the associahedra are geometric shapes whose volumes directly encode these amplitudes, okay? Imagine calculating the outcome of a car crash not by tracking each piece of debris, but by measuring the volume of an abstract diamond-like structure. This method worked flawlessly, bypassing space-time entirely. Now, if we have this happening and let's say actual physicists and scientists and doing their thing, kind of actually on the trail of the substrate of reality itself, what does that mean? Is it possible? And I've long said this and maintained that it's, very difficult, if not impossible, to measure a system from the inside of it. So, we're inside of this system, whether you believe it's the matrix, whether you believe it's the, the organic cosmos, as we're told, whether you believe it's a flat earth. And again, I'm not a flat earther, but there are people out there that believe this stuff. And I don't care, by the way, what you believe. I think that all these different ideas of looking at the world in different ways probably play in some context. And that's why it's important for me to be as agnostic as possible with conclusions and just say, well, let's defer them and let's just talk about possibilities. But anyway, I digress. So the elite from these associahedra, again, sounds very magical, right? And if you look at it, that from Wikipedia here, the associahedron, they've got the way advanced math, and these things are like crystalline structures that look, again, very much like Dungeons and Dragons dice or the Platonic solids, as we've talked about in the past, right? Even in the recent past here. But it's strange to me that if you consider this a space that's before time-space, basically this begat time-space itself, the cosmohedron, as we're describing it tonight. So the leap from associahedra to the cosmohedron is both subtle and revolutionary in this particular sense. By modifying these shapes, shaving edges, adding parameters. The team transformed them into tools for describing not just particle collisions, but the entire universe. The cosmohedron's geometry generates a quantum wave function for cosmology, a formula that encapsulates all possible states of a theoretical universe. Now think about that, okay? The cosmohedron seems like it is the basis of reality for all of the universe itself, and possibly, of course, how that fits into the larger context of the, a conceptual multiverse as well. Okay, but one more time, I'm going to read that because this is incredible. So the cosmohedron's geometry generates a quantum wave function for cosmology, for all of it, a formula that encapsulates all possible states of a theoretical universe. Remarkably, this wave function emerges without inputting familiar physics like locality or the idea that objects interact only with their surroundings or even particles. The shape itself knows the rules. Okay, and there's from the article here, from the New Scientist article, it is this. It looks like this. I'm going to get my big head out of the way. And if you're watching the stream, you can see how they're trying to depict this. And again, you know me, all of my esoteric knowledge comes from Dungeons and Dragons. I will not ever defer to that. It is true. It is true. It is true. Gary Gygax and that team was a genius. And we just did a show on that recently. But check this out. When I look at this, the cosmohedron as depicted by scientists, this looks very much like, I don't know, the cosmology of the Dungeons and Dragons reality, right? I can pull up a map that probably looks very similar. I'll even do that in a second here. But you get it, right? Looking at this thing, it's like, okay, so if this is the substrate of reality and we've sniffed it out, at least conceptually, what does that mean? What does that mean? Are we intended to or ever meant to know what the nature of reality is? I don't know. I don't know if there's an actual conclusion to this, but I do know that, like I said, when I read these headlines, I go with my intuition of what my interest is and what makes my tinfoil tingle. And just kind of reading the headline and a little subheadline of this article, I was like, wait a minute now. This is talking about time before time. This was that substrate of reality that existed before the Big Bang. And even the Big Bang is built into this system of the cosmohedron. Again, I know very dense, very heavy, very mathematical, very conceptual level thinking here. And I don't expect anybody, or if we got any mathematicians out there that could explain this to me better than my sort of philosopher, hip shot, one eye closed way, cool, I'd love to hear it. But otherwise, the questions for tonight are layered and many and varied. Of course, if we can discover the substrate of reality, in this sense, the cosmohedron, that says they're saying and describing this as the entity that came before time space itself. And all of that was built into this code, dare we say. So is this, and we've talked about this a lot in the past in different ways, is this the source code of reality itself or the Matrix? And so, of course, what comes to mind when I think of the Matrix is that green rain, that green code flowing down the screen, right? That the operators watch and they can interpret it. To us, it looks alien, but to them, they're seeing reality itself. You get it? It's weird how these ideas of science fiction kind of come into play with this larger context of, well, time before time. And you guys know me. Again, I bring this up often because it always struck me from very young when I read that C.S. Lewis, the line, The Witch in the Wardrobe, deep magic from the dawn of time. But then this is a deeper magic from before the dawn of time, right? Those two chapters very close to each other, Aslan the lion, right? The sacrifice, all this stuff, okay? But this is strange that trying to quantify what before the dawn of time is and seems like is basically anybody's guess. You can take a shot no matter how you want to take a shot, right? You think, well, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, maybe it's the quantum foam, maybe it was this, maybe this other thing. But in the cosmohedron aspect, it seems like we're going, a little more esoteric, if my spider senses are true here. But as usual, you know me, I'm not an actual scientist or anything else. I'm just me. And so I go with my intuition on these things and some of the things I do know. And I do love to learn new things. And of course, in this case, think about it one more time. The cosmohedron's geometry generates a quantum wave function for cosmology. So this is the big one. And you know, when you talk about manifesting anything, really, like you can't really, and like I talk about on this show, we're collectively as a group sort of manifesting the future when we talk about these possibilities that have not yet come to pass. Okay. And so meaning that eventually this will maybe catch on, maybe one of you guys, or maybe I'll write a book about something that we talked about, or maybe just a podcast and the radio show is enough to kind of get the word and the ideas out there. And even, once in a while we might have a novel idea kind of clunk out into the zeitgeist. And with that, suddenly, are we manifesting the way science chases these ideas? Because if we don't think of them, they cannot be created, okay? And so what does that mean? Manifesting those ideas together seems like a weird thing, okay? Unless you're a weirdo like me. And then you're like, well, why would that even make any sort of sense? Why would that work at all whatsoever? Because it seems like, a philosopher, a dreamer, just a yappy talk show host or whatever is so far removed from this type of cutting edge science that the two really wouldn't come together at all. However, like I said, if we can't dream it, we certainly can't build it. And in this case, the cosmohedron, a new term, brand new in science, is really this substrate of reality mapped out. Okay. And I will pull up that D&D chart momentarily because I think it's incredibly telling that the old ways, again, going through all of the different mythologies the world over, are, well, probably a little more accurate than we give them credit for. And what is that based on? It's based on the intuition of our ancestors. It's based on countless nights watching the sky without a television blaring the game. Anybody Chiefs fans out there? Boo. I've got some bad news for you. Taylor Swift made the Super Bowl again. We're so sick of that lady. Anyway, I don't mean it in the worst way. I just mean football fans are like, Taylor again, stop it. Stop this. The Kansas City Chiefs. Anyway, Chiefs and Eagles, if you guys are interested, that ends our sports ball coverage for the night. But you get my idea here. The whole point is, if you can manifest things in a group like this, or even, let's say, from one zeitgeist to the next, meaning this 100 years versus the past 100 years, these types of things, and we talk about ideas being in the air, why does that stuff work? And is it possible that it is built into this larger context of the cosmohedron, which would be time before time itself? And that means that everything is, well, what does it mean, I guess, really is the question, because I don't know. Nobody really knows. But again, think of it. The cosmohedron's geometry generates a quantum wave function for cosmology, for all of it. So think of the collapse of one wave function, okay? The wave-particle duality. Once you observe it, the wave becomes the particle and things superposition collapses, and it is now what we perceive, okay? Now imagine that scaled to the largest amount our human minds can even consider, and that's what this is talking about. Now tell me that is not the substrate of reality itself, because it sure as hell seems like it to me. That means it encompasses, back from this, remarkably, this wave function emerges without inputting familiar physics like locality or even particles. The shape itself knows the rules because it is the framework of the rules. You get it? It's strange. It's strange. Anyway, but is it possible that you could encapsulate all possible states of a theoretical universe? Meaning, as they say, given enough time and enough space with an infinite universe, anything can happen. Some exact identical Michael Strange might appear on the other side of the right. I mean, it seems ridiculous, but given enough time, they say maybe. But I don't know. Why would that be? Because it seems like there are these archetypal patterns in the universe that not just Carl Jung talked about, not Joseph Campbell, not Gary Gygax, not the things we talk about all the time on this show, standing on the shoulders of those giants, but recognize that there's something here that seems not just primordial, not just true in, let's say, the most intuitive sense. Of course, you be the judge of that. But also, where does this lead us if we've got this machine functioning of all potentialities humming in the cosmos? And, well, yeah, what does it mean? And how weird is it? And how weird do you like me to get, really, is the question. I got some other ideas as we go. They're in the write-up if you guys are interested. Join the Substack. Appreciate that, the people that have followed. Of course, we're calling it Primordial Time tonight. Acoustic Shadows of the Beginning, and I'll explain what that means as we go. But as for right now, we're going to take a quick break. We got James coming up and your calls as well. If you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It is as easy as that. Oops, that's the wrong button. How about this one right there? No. Oh, I'm a mess. There you go. See, the cosmohedron has me all messed up. What do you guys know about this? Is it possible that the substrate of reality has been discovered conceptually? And if so, what the hell does it mean for the future? Especially with the quickening as we always talk about it. One more time, 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More after the break. Be right back.
Across the void, before the dawn, where dreams were unspun, mystic wonders, lost now deployed, in shadows where the magic begun, timeless echoes resonate true, echoes of spells in the deep sky blue, unseen forces through the old night, casting their enchantments pure as light. Oh, I feel beyond the cosmic trace, a power unknown from the primordial space and the deep magic glow. Stars were shining in endless fields, mystery flowing as time stood still, nature's binding, power that heals, in whispers where the old magic spills, ancient spirits called through the light, weaving a promise of eternal night, through their wisdom, treasures untold, secrets from the river of stars unfold. Oh, I feel beyond the cosmic trace, a power unknown from the primordial space and the deep magic road, in the vast ethereal embrace the magical. In source of darkness, creation's dream, forging the worlds in ancient schemes, cosmic dances in harmony, where silence bursts.
Indeed. What's up, guys? Hope you're well tonight. Jeff and Wisco, Joey, Joe in Florida. What's up, Don? Sweets. We got Michael W., Kramos, APOC, Matzel, Daryl, New York, Jorge, and Gaston. I see you guys. Hope you're well tonight. Taxi Graveyard and Herschel over there on Kick. What's up, Mr. Mission Control? Esoteric Alchemist. How are you? What's going on, guys? Hope you're well tonight. Just doing what we do. Kelly is here. We'll talk to him momentarily. He's on the phone as well. James is up first. I see you guys. What's up, Sweets? Blind Psychonaut. How you doing? Shane, IXOX. How you doing? What's up, buddy? Richard, Jen is here. Good evening. What's happening, folks? Hello, hello. If I missed anybody, Pyramid 7. How are you? I'll circle back and get you momentarily. Let's go say hi to the Rumble fam. What's up? Gordo got first. How you doing? We got Puffus here. Good evening, guys. Hello, hello. Raz is here. What's going on, my friend? We've got hello. Who is here? We got Hiker and Ephemerance. I love that name. YY. Good evening, guys. Hope you're well. Just doing what we do, talking about weird stuff by dark and night. What do you think of it? What is the beginning of things, of all things, and what comes before the beginning? I don't know. It's an interesting question, especially when you think about a substrate of reality like this called the cosmohedron. Here we go. Trouble Minds coming up, right? Meow. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, DLive, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, I'm talking about this. What if everything you perceive, time, space, even your own mind, is an illusion? woven by an ancient geometric code. Physicists now propose reality's true foundation isn't space-time, but a jagged, multidimensional shape called the cosmohedron, a silent architect orchestrating particles, consciousness, and perhaps even UFOs. Could synchronicities be glitches in this hidden matrix? And that's where my mind went, actually, when I was thinking about this, because we talk about synchronicities, right? And I referred to this cosmohedron as the synchronicity engine of sorts, because there would have to be some sort of framework for that to be true. And what did Carl Jung call it? I can't remember. He basically dubbed the modern synchronicity term and put it into people's minds. And, it's kind of lived on from there and evolved and done all the things it's done. But the meaningful coincidence, right? So if that's true and that can be possible, then it really harkens at a larger conceptual machine, which again seems very, very what is it? Not conspiracy, but very simulation theory. So, I mean, I don't know. As usual, no answers from me, just ideas as we talk about this stuff. But if you look at the map of this thing, it does seem like very much like a Dungeons and Dragons map or something you'd find at the bottom of a dungeon laying next to a gelatinous ooze or something. Incredibly weird. So I don't know. What is your thought on this? And of course, what does it mean when you talk about the beginning and of course, before the beginning? And do you think that this new substrate of reality, as I'm calling it, that's not really what they called it. Do you think that we're onto something here? And have we spotted the machine from inside the machine itself? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. What's up, James? How you doing, my man? Hope you're feeling well tonight and you're on Troubled Minds. Go right ahead.
I'm a bit dizzy, but other than that, I'm okay. I don't know. Maybe it was a retro causality of knowing there was going to be geometry involved in tonight's show.
That could be. Blame me. well, blame the scientists who got the cosmohedron figured out, or at least conceptually. So their fault. But anyway, go ahead.
I see. And nice escape there. That was good. No, just this is a great topic. I looked at the image real quick. There are a couple of images there, and it's amazing to me. It made me realize something I just hadn't thought of before, which is that everything is made of shapes. Whether it's parts of everything or just the various parts of one thing, it's all shapes in a way. And so it just made me wonder, how far back could people have maybe known what you're talking about in a way without knowing all the math that went into it or that goes into it exactly, necessarily number by number. We know that people have been looking at stars for who knows how long, and that they've looked at patterns and I mean, constellations are a whole other thing, and they're on the planet, but they're looking up and they're seeing all these things in out there somewhere. And it's amazing to me whenever I think of constellations, because I can't see what they are unless like there's a drawing with lines to show what is what. And even then, it's very difficult for me to tell. But that's just because I'm legally blind. That's I'm not really surprised there. But I can understand and I can see the basic shapes of things like that. And so if people have been interested in thinking about shapes that far back, who knows? I really wonder how far back that has been the case.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we know that they've been dreaming about this stuff forever. And I think probably, there's a lot of ways to consider why this might be, why our intuition can really kind of pick out, how would you describe it? Something that's indescribable. Like how do we sort of kind of know, right? That it seems like the more, scientific this stuff gets, the more it really fits into maybe some older ways. And look at this. So I got a cosmology map up of, let's see, this is from Forgotten Realms from Dungeons and Dragons. Okay. So this is one of the ones that came to mind. I'll show you other ones. I'll pull up a couple as we go, but check it out. If you're watching the stream here. So this is what we're talking about. The cosmohedron tonight, recently discovered, is basically, as I'm describing it, the substrate of reality, some sort of larger machine that holds the potentiality of all possible universes. Think about how big that is. It's massive. And this is how they sort of mapped it. It's strange. But then look at this again, the Forgotten Realms cosmology. it's like, wait, that's some similarities. Of course, it's not identical, but there's definitely some similarities here that make you go, what the hell's actually going on? Sorry to interrupt, James, but I said I'd pull that up. I wanted to actually do that. And thanks for taking a peek at the pictures there. Pretty wild stuff, huh?
It is, and I just looked at that cosmology map for Dungeons and Dragons, and yeah, it always amazes me whenever I see an image that's supposed to be sort of representing everything, and I can see the shapes of multiple things in there in different ways, like that cosmohedron, I believe is the name of it. In one way, I can see it almost like it's an eye, which is amazing because when you think about that, that's just so much symbology in the idea of an eye and how it works and the parts of it and everything. And but then also in that image, there's just so many general shapes. Again, that's what made me think of what I started off with, which is that there are shapes in there that are nearly like basic shapes, like rectangles and triangles, but then you have like partial circles, all those different things that are just when they're simple, I can even see them. I can make them out. So I just really it's amazing to me to think about just people from how far back does that knowledge or awareness of shapes and how they can affect things. How far back does that go?
Yeah, to the beginning, to the primordial beginning. It seems like we've been dreaming about this forever, again, and telling stories about this forever. And then doesn't it make a little more sense now if you talk about the universe as this sort of structured framework that actually looks like this? That, when you talk about synchronicities, you talk about these archetypes, these cycles that repeat, the hero's journey, the human experience, linear time and the entropy of being human, all the rest of that stuff. But how it really kind of fits neatly into a pocket of something like this, something like we describe all the time, as if some of this stuff was just stitched in forever and it's just waiting for us to show up and sort of seize it, right? And become it. And I don't know, it's a wild thing to consider that it's been out there just waiting for us to show up and kind of make those decisions that lead us to this moment, to this point, into the future. And so for me, as usual, I don't have any conclusions on this stuff. I just like to consider that maybe, just maybe, we sniffed seeing, at least conceptually, the structure of the substrate of reality, which to me, me as a weirdo, is exciting as hell. And I think it does, to answer your question, in my opinion, I think it probably does go back to the very beginning of human dreams and human thought and consciousness itself, which, by the way, if you're talking about consciousness as a technology, which we've talked about recently as well, doesn't it seem like this might be the ultimate universal consciousness as that technology, sort of waiting for us to come into our moment or whatever that is? I don't know. Just another idea to throw out there. But go ahead. What else you got?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about us finding over time all these different shapes that we are aware of, and especially the more complex ones, and then now you have this possibly being the one that is behind everything. That's amazing. And even if we only partially knew it, the further back we go, or whether we did or not, to have that possibility of finding that shape now is really amazing. Also, I wanted to point out the fact that the way that various unusual phenomenon, whether it's ghosts or UFOs or orbs or lights, all these different things are seen in all different kinds of shapes and patterns. And this goes across all the different sort of anomalous categories of the unexplained that you want to go into. Shapes are everywhere and all that. And sometimes things will change shape from one to another. So that's really all I wanted to point out for now. But I will sit in with you if it's okay, and talk to you again later if there's time.
Absolutely. You're the best. Appreciate you very much. Great points all. James, you know him, you love him, the paranormal expert of Troubled Minds, a dear friend, of course. He's here on the radio station with us, a prolific author, his own podcast, his own radio show, as I said. Please go check it out. Salcido Paranormal is the name, SALSIDO space paranormal, or troubledminds.net/friends. A little funny thing with the website, the name servers got messed up regarding that. Do go follow James, Salcido Paranormal, troubledminds.net/friends. I'll pull it up and show you where you can look at that. But there's a name server mix up, and so I put the new website up, and it propagated and looked good, right? And I was like, okay, everything's fine. And then it didn't, and then it broke, and I was like, what is this? And it had some like volleyball site from Indonesia. I'll show you. It's hilarious. So right now, troubledminds.org has been hijacked by a volleyball team in Indonesia. Yeah, or whatever the hell they're selling. It's there you go. This is go to troubledminds.org for a laugh, or I'll just show you. That's what it looks like. Get my big head out of the way. If you're watching the stream, yep, not kidding. That is real, and it is a mistake. But anyway, troubledminds.net is where you need to be. This is where you get all the stuff. If you click on friends, you'll find a nice list of our friends here. And if you should be on that list, let me know. All you got to do is help one little bit, and it's a big club, and you're in it. But it says follow James right there. Please click that and go follow him. You'll find his link tree and all the rest. Go check out his new book. It's called Salcedo Paranormal Experiences. Only $10, paperback, $5 Kindle. So please check that out. Let's help our friends out. Yeah. Okay. So lots going on with this. Like I said, is it even possible to detect or conceptually, mathematically discover the substrate of reality? Because it seems to me that's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous to measure a system from within the system, as I always say. It seems ridiculous. But hey, who am I to argue with a new scientist? And all the links are there, by the way, the individuals that worked on this stuff. So just saying, real or not? And what does it mean for the larger context of the conversation? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Thanks for being patient, my friends. Let's go to Kelly in Colorado. What's up, my man? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you, sir? And go right ahead.
Good evening, Michael. How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you, sir?
Good. I like the show tonight so far.
Thank you. What's your take?
So I want to call up and, what you're talking about and what it seems like this other person, this physicist, is it, that came up with this?
Yes, sir. Him and his team. Yeah, he's got a whole team of physicists, yep.
Okay, so what it sounds like to me is that they've been studying the ancient knowledge. And what I mean by that is everything that you were talking about. If you don't mind, I'll go ahead and read this part of this, the description of it, like 2 little paragraphs, and then you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Sure.
But in ancient Egypt time, it was called, you heard of the term Zep-Tepi?
Yes, we actually talked about this before, yep.
Yeah, it means the first time, right? So I'm going to go ahead and read this thing real quick. If people don't know what Zep-Tepi is, it has got a lot to do with everything, but this is some like the basic stuff for it. The whole pantheon, the first gods, right? So it's in line with what you're talking about. Hold on, give me a second. All right. During the fabled first time or Zep-Tepi, when gods or aliens ruled on Earth, the waters of the abyss receded, the primordial darkness was banished, and the human biometric experiment emerged from the light. The Urshu, the category of lesser divinities whose title meant the Watchers, preserved vivid recollections of the gods themselves, pursuant in the beautiful beings they called Nituru. That's what they call them, the Nituru, who lived on Earth with human beings in the beginning. Discoveries emerged from Egypt describe the existence of the worldwide pyramid temple system in prehistory, mounted like antennae on key energy meridians, which were employed by the ancient pre-scientists as harmonic tuning forks to stabilize the tectonic plates of the planet's cataclysmic geology. From the mother tongue word Judea, which is the way of the world, or way of the word, or the power of the word, the ancient Jedi priests used the language of light to tune the planet like a giant harmonic bell. Much is being rediscovered in the last of this time cycle. Along with the list of the mythological gods we find encoded in the grid stories of the creation of the human experiment, we find the Zep-Tepi. Within the void called spacetime, there are those who moved from reality to reality, creating programs in which souls experiments. They moved through the space known as zero point, where the matter and antimatter merge to create new realities. This is a place where positive and negative collide to destroy matter and recreate again. Zep-Tepi refers to first time, a remote epoch prior to the ancient Egypt, is a place of awakening and a place of forgetfulness. In the beginning, and it is the beginning and the end of every and all things. It is the home and the creational forces, those who bend and shape realities through sound, light, and color. The term zep or zipper, closing and opening, rips in time, movement through space-time. DNA is a polymer or encoded DNA. Zep-Tepi is Genesis. Zep means time, Tepi means first. Together they are the first time, or the golden age of alchemy, where the gods moved through the void and created the grids of our reality. We know them as the Egyptian gods, highlighted as Horus, or the associated with Orion, god of recreation and rebirth. The reality, they allegedly came to this reality loosely based as the precession of the equinox, approximately 12,500 years ago. Now, it goes on and on, but that's pretty much exactly what you're talking about, like how the Egyptians talk about, like how these primordial gods created of the universe, the time, everything, and then the creation of what they call the human species. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's wild. That's definitely goes back to the beginning, right? So what's there, because of course we talk about AI as, being a non-temporal entity. As long as it's got power and it's got the ability to, do what it does, it's not worried about entropy like humans are. There's no time scale for it to, live or to die. It just is. And so if you go back to the primordial space, before time itself, as you're describing, it's almost like the gods, as the gods would have lived in the playground before time existed, because, and I mean the cosmic playground, because it means that, no humans, of course, to kind of mess up the space, but also that they could live sort of in this pre-timeline eternity and maybe set things up forever, set up this substrate of reality that we're looking at, which is incredible. What was that book you were reading from again? What exactly was that? Emerald Tablets, right?
No, this was called Zep-Tepi. It's from an ancient Egypt.
Oh, I see. Something
but it's
different.
The first time. This is so like prior to all like even ancient Egypt, right? Before Kemet, even before it was called Kemet. All right, it was Zep-Tepi, and that was this is the stories of what they call the first time. And this was like the pre-gods, like Horus, Thoth. There was like the pantheon from the first gods of them was like that. It was like Isis, Horus, Thoth. See who else? The one with the falcon head too. He was. But Horus. it's like about I think 6, 7 gods, right? I believe that's the number. If I remember right, it's either 7 or 9, right? But these gods are the ones that are the creation of space and time, everything within, like you're saying, it's like a playground. But yeah, that's like their creation of creation stories before everything. You know what I'm saying? So and it sounds like, okay, so even like when they called these people called the Nunnertu, right? The Nunnertu was, even if you go back even further, it's like the Sumerian beings. That how they come. It's exactly like Genesis, the 7 tablets of creation. That's where it kind of comes from. It's just breaking. But where you guys were talking about how long has this been talking? How long have they been talking about it? I just wanted to bring this up. This is called Zep-Tepi. So that's where everything was like there was nothing, and then they moved from creation to creation, creating different this grid of life. It's a crazy read. If you go, I'll find. I got this link for this one, but it's a crazy read, and how it's just like what you're talking about. It's in the same. It's like that's why I wanted to bring this up.
Yeah, fire stuff. I appreciate it. Let me read this to you real quick. So I just did the quick GPT search. So to fill in some gaps here. So in ancient Egyptian mythology, Zep-Tepi, or the first time, refers to a primordial epoch when deities resigned on Earth. During this era, the gods emerged from the chaotic primeval waters, initiating creation and establishing order. The concept of Zep-Tepi is central to various Egyptian creation myths. In the Heliopolitan tradition, for instance, the god Atum, A-T-U-M, Atum, materialized on the primordial mound, giving rise to other deities who collectively structured the cosmos. There's more, but I'll leave it at that. But fire stuff, and clearly and always you're locked in, Kelly. It's weird though, right? That not that you're locked in. I think it's amazing, and you were amazing. However, it's weird that this substrate of reality can even be discoverable. Like that they're able to mathematically conceptualize this thing, which is basically the Garden of Eden, which is basically time before time itself as we know it, which is incredible to me, which means eventually we're going to be able to decode what that looked like and maybe where that space still resides. Is there really a place now where you can access that space? I don't know. What's your take there?
Yeah, that's what they kind of talk about too, is like even time, like with the, where you can jump into that time cycle, kind of like these doorways, as they call it, or like, timescapes where you're ripping through time. You can jump from, I don't know, I guess you would say it was like a jump gate or something where you rip through time, like it was explaining where you can, go through from reality. They call it reality to different realities. So I don't know if it's like different timelines or if it's different, wrinkles in time space, but that's what the creation is. That's what it's a crazy read, Mike. You need to I'm sorry, my bad. But you really need to get down into that one, because it's exactly what this guy's talking about. And like these physicists, I believe that they do read a lot of these, and then trying to put it in together as through mathematics. But if a lot of it, it's the mathematics is there all through ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. I mean, that's where you find there was like Pythagoras theorem that they found like that in a tablet in Mesopotamia, which is 3,000 years before Pythagoras was even born. You know what I'm saying? Or even pi. They find that on clay tablets in there. So their mathematics even back then was outstanding. Like it was the golden age. That's what the whole Zep-Tepi was the golden age.
Yeah, actually, let me finish reading this other paragraph here. So some researchers propose that Zep-Tepi corresponds to a historical golden age, exactly what you just said, possibly around 36,400 BC, during which advanced beings imparted knowledge to early civilizations. This perspective suggests that the monumental structures at Giza were constructed to commemorate this illustrious period. So, of course, and then it has mainstream archaeology doesn't, yada, yada. All the disclaimers apply to this show anyway, but of course, with these ideas talking about prehistory stuff, clearly, I mean, you got to take it with a grain of salt. But I love that idea, and I love that there's a book to this and you have it. I'd love to hear more about it. Drop the link in the Discord if you would, pretty please, and I'd love to read it myself. But go ahead. We got a couple minutes left if you got anything else.
No, I don't have much else. I put the link in Discord just so it was sitting in there. Just what I was reading too is called Crystal Links, the Zep-Tepi. But yeah, it's an awesome, this is one of the main ones, they were talking about. Like, even when I brought up, on an earlier or a different show where they talk about the Jedi, and those were the priests, they were like from my understanding, from my research, these priests were kind of like what Toth was talking about, his ancient priests that he had, go around the world and, spread the knowledge, kind of like where they went to South America and stuff like that. But that's what the Jedi, these Jedi priests, people think it was like from Star Wars, but even then, I think he probably even read the Zep-Tepi. Yeah, enjoy though, man. Everybody have a good night.
Appreciate the call. You were the best. Tell Michelle we said hi, and always a pleasure, brother. Take care.
All right, buddy. You too.
Thank you. That's Kelly in Colorado. You know him, you love him. Like I said, I always say when he calls, if we ever had a first caller that called back, it's Kelly. He's been a good friend for nearly 7 years now, and always got an amazing take on this type of stuff because, like I said, he's locked in. What do you guys know about it? Fire stuff. Thanks for the call, Kelly. Amazing. I don't know. Is it possible to discover this? And again, the cosmohedron. It's brand new. If you search it, you'll barely find it because it's breaking sort of physics, actually. So breaking news, breaking physics, but also it's breaking physics. It's both things, right? Yeah, I think Jedi is spelled D. Is that it? Jeddhi? I thought it was Djedi. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think probably different ways to look at that. But anyway, I digress. This is wild, okay? Because it basically is, again, describing, as I've been talking about recently, again, some synchronicities here, the substrate of reality. And so what does that mean conceptually? Nobody really knows, but now suddenly it's been given a name, the cosmohedron, which is the ultimate cosmic wave function of all potentialities, like the quantum computer behind the machine. And they've even illustrated it as such, which, like I said, looks very much like a D&D cosmology, if I'm being honest, and I'll show you some more examples of why I'm like, what in the hell is this? Yeah, they get Jedi, Geddi, I don't know. Anyway, fire stuff. Thank you, Kelly, for the call. Thank you for the link. And yes, the Zeptepi could be exactly the space. The Garden of Eden is another way to look at it. I don't know. What do you guys know? Is it possible to measure a system from within a system? Can you actually draw a picture of the substrate of reality as they've tried to do here? Those are my words, not theirs. Nobody's claiming they did this other than, well, kind of claiming they did this. So you tell me. Love to hear what you're thinking on this. We got lots of calls lined up. Appreciate you guys. Enoch is first. We got Daryl in New York and Shane. I'm not sure which order you guys came in. You let me know. Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Sorry, troubledminds.net. .org is broken for the time being. It looks like that, which is super hilarious. Anyway, be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. Don't go anywhere. More on the way.
Drifting through the quantum haze. Mind entangled in a daze. Whispers in the neural mist. Echoes of what might exist. Lost in time in this web we spin. It's alright beyond our skin. Consciousness forever twined in the dark unseen. Quantum dreams, we're all connected. Though we're scattered, we are reflected. Frequencies that pull us in. Parallel worlds kept within. Synapses that intertwine. Fragments of an endless line. Feel the pulse of a distant star. It's alright, we are who we are. In the void we find the light in tangled hearts. Quantum dreams, we're all connected. In the silence, hear the call. One by one, we rise and fall. Quantum minds forever near. In this world so clear. Quantum dreams, we're all connected. Though we're scattered, we are reflected. Dark energy in the depths we find. Mysteries of the human mind. Particles that drift afar. Whispers of who we are. Hold the thread of the great unknown. It's alright, we are never alone. Flow through time on currents thin. Universe is found within. Feel the echoes of the past. In this moment, futures cast. Through the veil of the space between. It's alright, life's a lucid dream.
Indeed. And so a new substrate of reality might suggest the exact same thing, that life is a lucid dream. What's up, guys? Enoch, we got Jeff and Wisco. What's up, Joey? How you doing? Joe in Florida. We got Dawn. What's up, Kramos? APOC, Matt, Sal Sweets, Shane, Michael W. Jorge Gaston over there just on Discord. Hope you're well. Mr. Mission Control, Ray Elvin's here. What's going on, guys? Thanks, Kelly, for the call. He says they are known as Jedaiah and DJEDI, the Jedi, the priest that he was talking about. What's up, Fred? Ray Elvin, how you doing? Esoteric Alchemist. What's happening, folks? If I missed anybody, sorry about that. I do my best to keep up. What's up, Gaston? Who else? What's up, Jen? Great comments. Yeah, it does seem Garden of Eden-ish, doesn't it? Like the time before time itself. Don't pick the apple. Don't pick the apple. What is up? What is up? I see you guys in the chat. Hope you're doing well tonight. Just hanging out, doing what we do. What's up, Raz? Here you go. Raz, actually, this is pinned by the boss babes over there on Rumble. Another fun space and time fact. There is a star called Methuselah that's 14.46 billion years old, but the universe is only 13.7 billion years old. Explain that. Yep, exactly right. Exactly right. Retrocausal cosmohedron time frame splicing. There's my explanation, which makes no damn sense, but figure it out. What's up, Puff? Femrance, Raz, I see you guys. Hope you're well tonight. What is up? Yeah. If I missed anybody, sorry about that. Just say hey, I'll say head back, Texas Graveyard. We got Commercial Herschel over there. And here we go. Troubled Minds coming up right now. I think Daryl, I think Daryl might have been first. You guys let me know in the chat, please. Here we go. Troubled Minds happening now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, DLive, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting, which you can find at troubledminds.net. On the very top, it just says listen. If you click listen live, it'll let me mute the tab so it doesn't. Yep, there we go. No, mute it. There we go. So we don't play back on ourselves, but it'll just play the radio station right there on the troubledminds.net. Pretty cool. You could adjust the dial and whatnot. It's the volume. Anyway, pretty neat stuff. We're also broadcasting on 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight we're talking about time before time, the primordial space of not Zep Tepi. What is it? Sorry about that. Definitely Zep Tepi the first time, as Kelly described. Fantastic, and that is exactly what we're talking about. But scientists are calling it, well, they're not definitely calling it this, but there's a new 3D shape called a cosmohedron, which is supposedly the potentiality of all universal realities, which again is conceptually mind-blowing. But if that's the case, like I'm describing, is it possible that there's actually we've detected the substrate of reality itself? And why does it look like the cosmology of Dungeons and Dragons when they map it out? just as a guy that a fan of D&D from my younger years. But anyway, pretty wild stuff. If you want to be part of the show, love to hear your take on this. What do you think? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. And yes, Kramos, we are definitely broadcasting in New Zealand, absolutely, on terrestrial radio. What is going on? Let's go ladies first. We'll go Daryl, Enoch, and then I think Shane. Daryl, you're on Troubled Minds. How are you, my friend? And go right ahead.
Hi, Michael. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear. Everything's great this time.
All right.
What's on your mind?
Right. Well, I was about that shape. First of all, I think it's a QR code. No, I'm just kidding.
It feels like it, right? Like, don't scan that with your phone, guys. Who knows what portal will open up?
Exactly. But they just found something like that, and it does look like a QR code. They're trying to decipher it. If you scan it on your phone, though, it takes you back to the website. So they embedded something under it, I'm sure, so that if you do scan it with your phone, you'll get more information about what they discovered on their website. But that's kind of crazy. The other thing, like Kelly was just talking about, it seems like we're always destroying things to create new things. And it seems that's a universal thing, and it's not just a human thing, maybe. Like, why did, like, when you conquered a land, you wound up burning it to the ground, and starting it over? There were so few survivors that they were made slaves or something like that, I'm saying in the old times, but even the genocides, that you just destroy the whole structure of all the archaeology you found. Even, the temples, some of the temples we find aren't destroyed from earthquakes. they were destroyed by warriors, or other disasters, natural, or, they were just destroyed by the conquerors. But they also had great engineering skills that are innate. And I think if you leave people around long enough, they're going to create things to, as a means to an end. They were great builders. I mean, how come they were like structures of aqueducts where people didn't have any running water in other countries, that they didn't collectively bring this knowledge to other lands, or they didn't survive whatever they had endured. But the people that like left enough of the, structural integrity of whatever they had discovered were incredibly creative up until a certain point, and then we became stupid again. Like, I just learned that they had a steam engine developed in ancient Egypt that they didn't really even cultivate because they had enough slave labor or free cheap labor. They didn't really need any, energy saving devices. So they didn't develop it like they did, later. But, how much knowledge was lost due to, natural or unnatural destruction? And is the destruction and reconstruction of the universe similar to our own history? Just saying,
Yeah. Well, it is odd because we're talking about pre-time, like actual primordial time itself, the time before time.
Right.
And if there is, as again, sort of modern-ish, the last 50 years of cosmology has suggested the Big Bang and all this stuff, and then the Big Crunch eventually, or either that or we die in like an entropy darkness, something to that effect, where it just kind of continues flowing forever and everything gets so far apart, everything freezes and dies in the primordial darkness anyway. But this moment before time, you got to wonder, exactly what that is. And it seems very, like I said, Garden of Eden. It seems very Zep Tepi, like Kelly said very smartly there. And there are a lot of those primordial cosmologies where we sort of knew, like we recognized, our ancestors recognized enough to at least tell the tale that there was a time before time itself, before this entropy human time. Yeah, which is incredible. Wild stuff. What else you got? Go ahead.
That's what let me just see. That's about it. I just have a few stupid jokes. Let's see. What did Mars say to Saturn?
Don't know.
Give me a ring sometime.
Love it.
And so kind of silly. Why didn't the sun go to school?
Not sure.
Because it already had 3 million degrees.
Daryl, you're killing me. We got cosmic jokes tonight. Cosmic jokes. I love it. Fantastic stuff.
Jokes. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
You were the best. I appreciate you very much. Final thought?
You. Great show. Great topic.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You're the best. That's Daryl in New York. You love her. Give her a follow. Links in the description, of course. troubledminds.net for the time being, because we're, the regular website's broken. I'll show you. Just go click on troubledminds.net, click friends, and you go down a little bit here, and it says Daryl. Follow Daryl. Click it right there. You'll go check out her YouTube channel, which, of course, not only is she very talented in a lot of ways, she's the official a joke mistress. I don't know. We're still trying to find a name that's flattering. It doesn't seem. So I don't want to call her the trickster of troubled minds, but the dad joke Daryl, affectionately for the time being. But do check out her YouTube channel again. Going to be some Morgellon stuff on there. Going to be some paranormal stuff, and she sings very, very well in both English and French. So please check that out. Again, troubledminds.net/friends. Visit the link when you see Daryl there. Please do that. 702-957-1037. We're talking about this primordial time. What do you know about it? And is it possible for us to actually, in one capacity or another, be able to measure this and even create a map of the substrated reality, as has been suggested by the scientists creating this cosmohedron? Seems strange, right? Cosmic comic? I like that. That's very good. Appreciate you guys. James, anything to add before we go to Enoch? I know Enoch is next. Thanks for being patient, friends. James, welcome back if you got anything.
Just great calls from everyone. I'm glad that Kelly called just real quick on that, because he looks into so much of the writings from the past that I have not gotten to yet. Just so many other things that we all do. And so I'm glad to have maybe some confirmation of what I was talking about earlier. Also, I wonder if that moment before time was maybe the where the dream realm, if I can talk, is located, and if that, because it does seem to be sort of a nexus for a lot of other things. I wonder if that was maybe where that's at, and it was just, I don't know. It'd be amazing if everything sort of came from that kind of a level of reality.
Yeah, exactly right. What's up, Ixoxy on, sorry if I mispronounced that, on YouTube says, it starts off as geometry, but always ends up as goo. Yeah, well said. Well said. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of ways to look at this, but is it possible to map the substrate of reality? And it seems like with this cosmohedron, a group of physicists has basically done exactly that. So I don't know, weird. Is there a time before time? And basically they're describing this as not time space, whatever came before it, whatever created it. And so I guess what better way to describe it than that substrate of reality? I love it. I love the idea. I love that maybe we can even describe this in mathematical terms and even draw it in a 3D system. It seems strange to me. It seems like this might be like a 5D phantom quantum foamish, right? Like how do you collapse this into a from a waveform, right? Collapse the wave function of this. I don't know. It's complicated as hell. I'm not a mathematician or a scientist. I'm just me. I'm a dreamer and a talk show host. And anyway, what do you guys know about it? Is it possible to map the substrate of reality as they've suggested here? And what do you know about this cosmohedron, which probably wouldn't be a lot other than intuition or what you might have known coming into this conversation? One more time, 702-957-1037. That's a Las Vegas area code. You can join the Discord for free, troubleminds.net. Click the Discord link and hop on in here and come say hi. And it's as easy as that. And we'll put you on the show. You can put your hand up, listen on the stage, and interact with us, the most interactive radio show in the known multiverse. Let's go to what's up, Austin? Enoch on the Discord. What's up, brother? Just pop on in here, and you are on Troubled Minds. How are you, sir? And go right ahead. Hello. Test 1 2. He's turning down his music back there. I'm nearly certain of it. That's why we're waiting here. What's up, Enoch? Austin, you're on Troubled Minds. What's going on, brother? Are you there? Test 1 2.
I had to just move myself onto the stage there because I think I disconnected earlier or whatever.
Okay, fair enough. Welcome to the joint. Go right ahead.
I would have been here earlier. I don't know. Were you calling me earlier? Because I broke a glass. That's why I didn't make it.
Oh, no problem. Actually, hope you're okay. Everything good?
Yeah, it was epic, actually.
Okay.
It was like the most epic thing ever. It just fell at the perfect time, and I caught it at the perfect time and moved super slow, but broke it with my finger. And it was just like how it happened was just like super kung fu. It was awesome.
Okay. As long as you're okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Welcome to the joint.
It broke all up into the shelf instead of on the floor everywhere too, because of how I like pushed it with my finger.
Awesome. But very, very kung fu.
Was crazy.
Chop the glass out of the air. Okay, so we're talking. So no, you didn't miss anything, by the way. So we had Daryl. Thank you, Daryl. Fantastic call. But you're up. What do you know about this? Is it possible to even recognize or know what the time before time began is? What's your take?
Yeah. I think based on my perception, which is limited to my experiences, of course, I would say that we're all light bodies and that it all originates from light. And I don't think there was really a beginning or end, or is going to be an ultimate end, but I think we transform all the time, and I think transformation is a part of all life. And it's all like a circle. It's all expanding, twisting, turning, opening, closing, going up, going down, all of that. And I think that there is like old postures that we would practice in the ancient times, even on these hieroglyphs. I think that they're trying to tell us that we can make our bodies like everything else, like nature. And they say, oh, you become one with nature or whatever. I know, I guess I'm kind of mocking it, but no disrespect. I just don't know for sure. about that. That's all I'm saying.
Right on. Nor do many of us. Do me a
But
favor.
it is cool. It does seem like nature has been more prevalent with me lately in my practices, though. I'll say that. Like, I got a hawk that follows me around. I have like a rabbit friend, and squirrels that put nuts in my windowsills. Like, and I trade with them sometimes, like more nuts, and then they leave more nuts, take them, and then they're back. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? They're like nut communication or something.
Don't make me insert joke here. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. Okay, so beyond that, I think that mindfulness, we talk about this quite a lot, and sort of recognizing the natural order of things and your part in it, definitely plays to this larger context. But when you're talking about time itself and sort of the actual the entropy of the human experience, we begin and we end. There are many things cosmic that do not. I mean, the universe hasn't ended. And so does it fit into that cycle? And if it does or does not, what came before it, what comes after it? Again, I always talk about make fun of myself, tongue in cheek, is the beginnings and endings is the end of my romanticism. The end of my romanticism is beginnings and endings, right? But go ahead. What's your take?
I think light is the most underestimated source of, or just thing that exists of all things, because of how the life and death, like the universe might eventually end. We don't know. Maybe it had a beginning, but one thing's for sure is the beginning and the end, it's going to have different light. So there's transformation happening, you know what I mean? So maybe that light, if the universe were to end, it would just, like, maybe that's how wormholes or black holes are created. Maybe it just kind of moves somewhere else or whatever. Kind of just changes. I mean, it may not be the same in many ways sometimes. Maybe there's big changes sometimes, but I don't think it's ever I think the light comes out, so frequency and vibration gives out geometry, and I think it's possible that light is actually the source of even all of that. Tesla said energy, frequency, vibration, if you wanted to understand the way the universe works. And I think the source of all that is light. Like, I think it's like in thought as well, because when we have thoughts in our mind, we're emitting different light, and we can, depending on which direction we wish to sail in our life, as long as we know where we're at first, so we don't get lost in our thoughts, because that's easy nowadays with all these self-affirmations and music. You can get too deep into that, and if you don't go outside and get some different sensory uploads from just life, different scent, the air, your nose actually retains more memory than it's the number one scent for memory. Your scent. I don't know if you guys knew that. If you want, we can pull that up real quick. I'm sure that's
No, I know it's a heavy prominence in our memory cycles there. I got a question for you regarding the time conversation here. So not just memory, but so the speed of light in a vacuum is approximately 299,792 kilometers per second. The distance between Earth and Mars varies due to their elliptical orbits. But what I'm getting at is, at this distance, at its closest, the speed of light takes approximately 182 seconds, or just over 3 minutes, to travel from Earth to Mars. So you bringing up light means that even 3 minutes there and 3 minutes back, we're talking about a 6 or 6.5 minute delay factor for communication to Mars. Now, is it possible that thoughts in our mind, the human mind, travels faster than that? And let's say there's some sort of entanglement effect, and you could, for instance, remote view Mars, something to that effect, which has been, part of the lexicon of this conversation for a long time.
I got some maybe juice for that.
Okay, whether it's true or not, if you guys don't know, Joe McMoneagle of the Stargate program was allegedly, again, everything I talk about is allegedly, by the way. Don't pin me into a corner and say it's not true, Mike. Whatever, fine, it's not. Conceptually, you decide. I don't care. Honestly, if you think it's cool, if it's not, if it's somewhere in between, I don't care. It's up to you. But Joe McMoneagle, infamously, and the Project Stargate, which we've talked about recently as well, they gave him a a remote viewing target 1 million years ago on Mars. And supposedly he remote viewed entities in some cataclysm or something. So anyway, so my point is that, so not just time dilation effect of our mind, the question really becomes, do the speed of thoughts and thoughts themselves, is it faster than the speed of light? That really becomes the question.
Yeah.
Bring the maybe juice.
I would say that it is faster, but I think it is also possible that there's other things that maybe the stars at night, they all emit light, the moon, sun, they all emit light. And us, we have this brain, maybe it is faster than the speed of light, how it works internally. I think it actually is, but what it's connected to, maybe through the cosmos, which emit light, maybe when it picks up that light, we now have like a different download algorithms, kind of, you know what I mean? Because people, there's a lot of studies on these people that do these sun gazing when the sun's at like 0 UV, like at the sunset for like 5 minutes, 5 minutes up and 5 minutes down. There's like a period where there's like no UVs, and they've scanned people's brains, and they're actually way more brain activity going on. So that always really inspired me to look more into the light thing a while back. But I think so that amplified the communication between neurons, which, if we're already faster than the speed of light, are now like way, way, way faster, and super creativity to all the people that participated in that ended up being like they got a lot more spurts of creativity with their practices in regards to making things.
Yeah, well said.
Etc.
Well said. All that fire stuff. If you had to take a guess, do you think that whatever came before time we're going to return to eventually? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think that's Yoda stuff, man. Right there. That's kind of like we're all connected with everything kind of thing. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of everything everywhere. Like wherever we put ourselves, we're a part of it, you know, kind of thing. Like,
yeah. That's why I asked.
And
Yoda.
we're born under the stars too. People love to go into all their different astrologies, and I mean, I'm not gonna knock astrology, but I'm gonna say that if you don't pick a certain field of it and really practice to understand what's going on and not get lost in the world of your thoughts, and also have a book of your life and your dreams too, so you don't like forget who you are, because some people can literally do that going into that stuff. With all the personality stuff, you get all these groupings of new identities of this is you if this is this, and it just, there could be a psychology download you're taking in instead, and you could lose your sense of self. So astrology, I think, can be dangerous in that if you go that direction with it.
Yeah, I think there's wisdom to be found in everything, and anything can be dangerous if you give it enough enough juice. You know what I mean? If you chase anything to the end of ends, it becomes the end, doesn't it? And so it's problematic. And so, yeah, but balance as always. And regarding Yoda, Austin brought up Yoda there. Yoda would say time. Remember Empire Strikes Back? Luke Skywalker asked if his friends would die if he went to help them, or if he didn't go to help them, or whatever. And Yoda takes a moment and kind of does this quiet meditative contemplation bit. And he says, difficult to see. Always in motion, the future is. I wonder. And so when you're talking about the substrate of reality and sort of the collapse of a cosmic wave function, then I guess even the best seer out there would not be able to sort of connect those things and be able to determine, because it's based on potentiality and the decisions made between now and then, which in the most wise monk Yoda style thing means it depends on the decision you make, Luke. Right? So, or in part. Anyway, go ahead. We got a minute or so left. Go ahead.
I wanted to say to our listeners, do not lose sight on your vision. Ignoring the noise and focusing on the vision. That is the way to train your mind and your practices, whatever you wish to practice. Because also one of the people that were trained by Yoda in Star Wars, Obi-Wan, he said to Luke, I think he was focus, he's careful, or he said something, I don't know, Focus. He said focus is where your attention goes.
I think so, or something like that. I don't know. I'm a Star Wars nerd, but I can't recall that exact thing.
It was something like that.
We'll dig into that and see if I can fact check you. No fact checks here. I'm just kidding. You're the best.
No, that would be fine because we're a lot of Star Wars. A lot of people interested in that stuff because George Lucas was an anthropologist and into all this stuff. So underground and above ground, but it's like, if you're not in the underground side of Star Wars and you talk to someone that's all in the above ground, it's like they're a different planet from a different planet, They just don't see what you've seen in Star Wars, so they're like, whoa.
Yeah, it's all Joseph Campbell, it's all Carl Jung, it's all these cycles that we always talk about. Exactly. And if you don't recognize that, well, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. You take it from everything, whatever you like, and learn from it. All wisdom is good. You're the best. Appreciate Enoch. He's got a YouTube channel, Short Quick. Check it out. He doesn't want to plug it, but I'm plugging it for him. And let me know if we're gonna put that on the actual Troubled Minds friends list because it's overdue. You told me not to, so I'm not gonna. But do check out his YouTube channel. You're the best, Austin. Appreciate the call. Thanks for being part of this. I appreciate you very much. Have a fantastic night. Going to bump you down here. We got Shane coming up, the Blind Psychonaut, and more from James if he's got it. What do you guys know? We're talking primordial time. Is it possible to detect this? Is it possible to know what happened before time, space itself began? And in the end of ends, is this where we're headed anyway? Garden of Eden, Zeppy Teppy, you tell me. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. Don't go anywhere.
In a cryogenic slumber, lost in the lunar night, your face a faded number among the stars so bright. Dreams of forgotten echoes, waiting for time's command. Curtains of gray and sorrow, the lonely lunar sand. Below the moonlit sky, of the love we try, silent by your, where ancient souls reside, suspended in a story, kept in the cold dark tide. Our futures in the making, in silver-edged domain, hearts kept in silent aching, till we meet once again. We are awakened below the moonlit sky, to the fragments of the love we try. Frozen time we're resting, waiting for dawn's embrace. Whispers of love confessing in this forgotten place. We are awakened below the moonlit sky, to the fragments of the love we try. Memories kept so vibrant in the vacuum deep in mind. The tale of cosmic yearning across the astral sea, and the fires of hope still burning for when we finally breathe free.
For people that don't like AI creations, tell me that's not a great song. That's really good. What's up? What is going on? If I missed anybody, sorry about that. Rayovan, what's up? Great call. Austin, appreciate that. What's up, Jen? Rayovan says prime ordeal instead of primordial. Very smart. What's up? I hope you guys are doing well tonight. Just hanging out, doing what we do. Troubled Minds coming up. We got more from James if he's got it. We got Shane, the blind psychonaut, and Joe calls as well. Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, DLive, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're talking primordial time, acoustic shadows of the beginning. Is it possible to measure a system from within the system, including and up to the substrate of reality itself? Now, this New Scientist article just came out. It's talking about a cosmic shape that could explain the fundamental nature of the universe. And they've named it. Physicists have named this the cosmohedron. Right? Seems fine. It's a 3D object. It's a 3D shape, which seems a little less cosmic to me if we're talking in a more wild sense of this. But I would, fifth or sixth or 10th dimensions or something. What is there, 11 dimensions we're told? I don't know. I don't really know. Like I said, I'm a dabbler, not a scholar here. But do you think it is possible to measure a system from within a system, and what happened before time itself? That becomes really chief among these questions tonight. A lot of ways to look at this. If you guys are interested in more of these ideas, of course, aliens come into this because, of course, when we talk about Kardashev level civilizations, Kardashev 3 or 4 civilization might be able to build this structure and set up the map for everything to flow basically the way it should be from the time space itself. So I don't know. Definitely aliens fit into this. The Kardashev level, godlike entities. You tell me. As usual, I don't really know because, of course, these questions are always way above my pay grade, but it doesn't mean you can't ask them. So here I am. Shout out to freedom of speech, being able to think about ideas and ask things that are uncomfortable. And here we are doing it. If you want to be part of the conversation, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.net, and we'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. Anything, James? And we'll go to Shane right after that.
Great calls from everyone. I really wonder, too, I always wonder this when it comes to any kind of visions of other times or places that people have, and even when it comes to prophecies that people make about what is going to happen in the future. When those things don't happen the way they expect them to, or the way they see them happening in their mind or in dreams or whatever ways they've seen these things. Is it because it's not happening in the universe that they're in? It's happening in some other universe within the whole multiverse kind of construction. And I mean, people do have visions of other worlds and other beings, and of course, a lot of times that gets written off as people's imagination. But I mean, if we're talking about everything being connected to this shape or this changing shape and geometry and just light and energy, then why can't they be sort of seeing other places and other beings that we can't get to here because they're in a separate universe?
Yeah, and you mentioned that the dream realm previously as well. I think maybe this might be that. And if you go to the Aboriginal original primordial dreams, they believe that the dream space is where we came from, and so that was the original. The Zeptepi, right? This again, the substrate of reality. It's a time outside of time itself, and maybe that is our conduit, sort of our intuitive conduit to it, and why the dreams are so wacky and whatnot. Again, like I said, if you don't believe any of that or can't even entertain the thought, no problem. You win. Not trying to argue with anybody, especially not James, because James always wins. Anything else, and we'll go to Shane.
Yeah, just it's amazing how many cultures around the world have these ideas of times before times, or even in many origin stories, there is something before the story starts, or something that is changed at the start of the story to make everything. So that's around the world, really. If you look into enough mythology and folklore and beliefs about how everything goes, it's there all over the place. So yeah, great calls from everyone, and looking forward to the rest.
And you were the best. A deeper magic from the dawn of time. Dare we invoke it? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. What's up, Shane? Thanks for being patient, my man. You are on Troubled Minds. How are you, sir? And go right ahead.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. You sound great.
Cool. Sorry, I was adjusting my tinfoil onesie real quick.
Nice. Let me know where to get one of those, because I'm definitely I'm into it. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
Shoot me an email and we can figure something out.
All right, sounds good.
No, I'm just kidding. But well, I want to address one of your questions. Can you measure something? Basically, saying, can you measure something with being in that? You can, but I think your perspective is very tainted. And I'll kind of give an example of like the flat Earth, where they argue about, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But your perception, our perception, it's hard for us to realize something as big as the Earth when you're on it, if that makes sense, to realize something that's thousands and thousands of miles, and you're trying to make a point of, oh, it's flat because that's what I see. Well, from your perspective, that's what you see, but from further away, it's a different shape. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the point of this is, and I don't think it's possible. I think you can conceptualize the thought of the world. And I mean, the ancients measured it, but still the world isn't the system. We're talking about the universe. And so, right. And even beyond that, into the larger capacity of it, of the conversation anyway, conceptually, we're talking about that substrate of said universe. So do I think that's possible to measure? No, hell no. But again, they say they may be onto this, and they may have even mapped it in some capacity, which looks like, I don't know, the D&D cosmology map or the flux capacitor, or, I mean, it looks very much like, as Jen said earlier in the chat, if I turn this in school as some sort of project, I'd get an F, but here we go with the actual scientist, physicist drawing these weird structures that seem like platonic solids on a cosmic scale. It's crazy.
Well, I was just giving an example, about perspective.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you 100%. I was not refuting you. I was agreeing with you.
Oh, yeah. But now it's one, it kind of sounds like they're just reshaping. I think MJ said it in the chat, bubble universe. It's kind of like, it feels to me like they're reshaping that. Now, I know it's just hard for me to follow some of these scientists when they talk about, before time or the time of things. I mean, for the example of when they put the James Webb telescope up in 2021, and an article came out in 2023 talking that they found light, and I think I could be wrong on it, but actually fully formed universes that are older than they said the Big Bang Theory was. So, I mean, they're finding newer things all the time. And even they found between the galaxies, like say between the Milky Way and the Andromeda galaxy, they thought that was just empty space. Again, with the James Webb telescope, they found smaller galaxies in between. So for me, it's like a little difficult when they're finding newer things, older things continuously. Like even with the Kuiper Belt, they don't really know what's there. And if you look at it like as a human perspective, that's literally like, I don't know what's beyond my back gate, and they're trying to map how old or what's before. So I don't know. I take it as a grain of salt. It's interesting. I wish I could kind of see what the this 3D type shape they're coming up with. But I don't know if that made any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And they are 3D shapes, and think like Dungeons and Dragons dice, except a little bit more elaborate, right? That's kind of what they look like. It's strange. Back to the platonic solids we've talked about recently as well. It's an odd thing that these types of structures, again, sort of these geometric structures that we know is sacred geometry in a lot of cases. And look, I know people crap on the idea and whatnot, but also some people are really into it and think that maybe it is that fractal nature of reality. Shout out APOC in the chat there. Thinking about these ideas a lot and talking about these ideas a lot. There might be these fractals that go from this largest construct we could ever consider, the potentiality of all things, of all galaxies, of all universes. In this moment, they seem to be platonic solids scaled out. It's wild to consider. And yeah, I don't know. No answers for me, as you know, just more questions as part of this, but I think it's a wild to consider. And what do you think actually happens before time itself, Shane?
Ooh, I don't even know if there was a before time. Because as humans, we're used to a beginning, middle, end. So we put that construct on everything we think of, make, and do. So I think in this aspect, we have to think beyond a human, which is extremely tough to do because that's all we know. But before, if there is a before time, I'm a heavy believer. It's like what James was saying. It could be in the realm of what we perceive as the dream realm, or when we die, we go to that type of realm. But I mean, they say that energy, you can't destroy it. And if we're made of energy, does that mean we've always been around in some type of form? And not just even as a spirits, but other energy forms. So I don't know. I don't think there was a before or there will be an end, but I think we just put that stamp on it for our own comfort.
I agree in a lot of ways there, and specifically because we do tend to really sort of anthropomorphize stuff. Not just ideas, but philosophy, and again, scatter that out to the cosmos. But I wonder if it is a fractal both ways. So it's like we're supposed to. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. It also brings to mind sort of that Star Trek future where there are humanoids all over the galaxy, right? And there's like we've talked about this before, the Klingons and the Romulans and the Vulcans and all the stuff, and they all happen to have 2 eyes and 2 arms and 2 legs. I wonder if not just talking about shape. Yeah, exactly like if there's some sort of template for intelligent life that eventually becomes, and again, that's fiction and just conceptually thinking here, that becomes very Stargate as well, Stargate SG-1, that arms and legs, eyes and ears, well, even facial hair. I mean, it's like I do wonder. Nothing other than sort of amusing there, but yeah, the wild stuff. What else you got? Go ahead, sir.
Well, and time, like again, what we think of as time is, as you said, the arrow of time. We see it in a one direction, back and forth, but diving into like the dream world, time is so twisted. Like I've had, and I'm pretty sure everyone on here's had dreams where you're like, holy crap, that was like, I lived a whole life, or like that was an hour. But then in waking reality, it was like 5 seconds. And that just blows your mind. And they also say, with like Michio Kaku or Einstein, once humans get up to the speed of light, time slows down. So if we left Earth, and say if I left Earth, hit the speed of light for however long, then I come back to Earth, everyone I know, like even generations, they would all be dead, and I would only be, a day older or whatever it is. So time is a very odd concept to me. Now, I do think thought, one, is the future of travel, and it is extremely faster than light. I think that's the fastest thing we can travel with. Now, I could be wrong again, but wasn't it the Hadron Collider that they had a molecule that or something that traveled faster than the speed of light?
There's all kinds of science coming out there. I'm not exactly sure. I'm familiar with the Higgs field, the Higgs boson, but there's supposedly been other very rare particles that come out of it. So I'm not sure. You may be right. You may be right. I'm not. I don't follow it enough. I'm not a scientist, but they may have discovered that, and it wouldn't surprise me, to be honest, because we're talking about the universal speed limit. But what happens if you sort of exist in 1 foot in two realms? So are you still confined by the speed limit of the universe itself? I'm not so sure.
Well, yeah, again, could be wrong, but I think it only lasts like, fraction of like a second, whatever. But yeah, the thought is instantaneously from my experiences. Now, with the remote viewing, a lot of remote viewers say, because you guys brought up like the remote viewing the future, where it's different, and like you said, what Yoda said, the future is always in motion, which is because it hasn't been set or hasn't been done yet. From what we're like the Dick out like. Anyways, any of the well-known remote viewers saying remote viewing the future is because it hasn't been set in stone. Now,
there's like a bridge of actions between here and there that collapse those potentialities. And so you can see different possibilities. Look, I can do this too. You can do this too by sort of just following news cycles and reading history and, thinking about this deeply. We can see potentialities. And so which is which, and how do we differentiate? It depends what happens between here and there. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Is it sort of built into this larger substructure? I don't know. Go ahead. Great stuff.
Yeah, it's fascinating to think about, and it blows your mind, like, to even think, like, was there before all this was made, or what's going to happen if it all stops? Which I like I said earlier, I don't think there's going to be an end, because everything is always in that cycle of starting and ending, I guess, like with the planets and humans and beings. Now, like I said, the core energy of that can't be supposedly destroyed. But I mean, does that mean we just like float around? I don't I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. It's something to think about, I guess. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, wild stuff. That's why we do it. And don't worry, the whole point isn't to find a conclusion. The whole point is just kind of consider those possibilities as humans, right? I mean, we are, cosmically, we're less than ants. So, in that context, that fractal nature of reality, we are very small on the totem pole. So that's the way this goes. That's exactly the point of this. That's why we do these ideas. And as I like to call it, kick around the cosmic soccer ball, because this is, by the way, this has been my dream forever, to find an amazing group of people to talk about these ideas with that are out there. They're so far out there. It's conceptual thought. It's philosophy. But as I made the joke in Discord yesterday or the day before, feral philosophy, or what was it? Some other time. I like feral philosophy, guerrilla philosophy, because it's it's sort of unstructured conceptual thinking. And again, trying to blend the past with the present and the future, and of course, frame it through what it means to be human. It's exactly the point. And like I said, dream come true having all you guys be part of this. So fire stuff. If you got anything else, you're welcome. Go right ahead. We got a few minutes left. Or if you're finished, I shared your links in the chat, by the way. Please follow Shane, the blind psychonaut. But go ahead if you got anything else.
Well, last thing is, what's interesting is the more we start dipping into the quantum field, is a lot of these abstract type of ideas come from. Now, I personally think with like quantum science, even with Einstein calling it, what was it, spooky science at a distance or something like that.
Spooky action, yep.
That, yeah, misquoted, but pretty close. But that a lot of scientists, they've been dabbling with this for a long time, but we're just now like as like the normies, if you want to call it, or just like normal people are getting a piece of it. I mean, with the what is it, the Willow processor, where they just dropped an article saying like the processing from that processor has to be from a different dimension. To me, that's like, it's just fascinating, and I don't know, it's pretty. Let's just see where it goes. Let's go. Let's put our onesies on and go for a ride.
Tinfoil onesies. That's a t-shirt right there. Absolutely. Fire stuff. Please give Shane a follow. Link is in the chat. I haven't updated the website yet because as you all know, as I told you earlier, troubledminds.org now forwards to some Indonesian female softball team or something. So we got a name server problem that I'm trying to fix. I have a file to help ticket, which clearly hasn't been corrected yet, as you can see. But the backup site is troubledminds.net, and we will get this all corrected. But in the meantime, Shane will eventually be there. Troubledminds.net /friends, of course, is where you'll find him. But I dropped the link of his YouTube channel in the chat right now. Please give our friends a follow. The whole point of this is growing together, thinking together, and sharing this human space together. Always a pleasure. Shane, you are the best, brother, and appreciate you very much. Thanks for being part of this, and have a great night.
Thanks. Have a good night. Talk to you guys later.
Peace. Have a great one. That's Shane. Fantastic stuff. The Blind Psychonaut. Do give him a follow. If you follow his YouTube channel, it's completely free, right? This is the thing. Like, the hard sell is go follow this man. He's a smart guy. He's creating content, and it's free. Wow. Hard sell, right? Please spend a few seconds and go do that. Again, links in the chat. The link will be in the description as well when we're finished with this. Derek popped in here. I know we're kind of at the end of the hour here. Anything, Derek, are you waiting for the top of the hour? I'm not sure. You tell me, or what's going on?
Yeah,
brother?
we can just wait. That's fine. Yeah, we can wait.
Okay, cool. We'll get to Derek the Night Stalker momentarily at the top of the hour. James, anything to add to that or whatever else? I got tons of stuff, of course, to tease and move into the next hour. But you got anything? You're welcome to it.
Just great call. I don't even really know where to begin, but there's one thing that I find amazing about all this, expanding on sort of the idea that a lot of people all around the world have these thoughts or these maybe intuition of there being something before the beginning. It's amazing how, if you think about it, nearly every fictional story out there is stuff that has happened in the story before the story starts. And point out a story to me, if you can, where that doesn't happen. I'd be fascinated to read that. Because it's just, that's the way it is. You have to have information that's there to sort of get things going that are more interesting than maybe things that have happened before, that are still important to what is happening at the start of the story.
Yeah, exactly. And the back to my, making fun of myself, my romanticism is beginnings and endings, but it is a human thing. It is one of those things we wonder about. Clearly we know our parents. If we were lucky enough, we knew our grandparents. If we're super, super lucky, we knew our great grandparents. But what came before that, right? And so conceptual thinking in terms of, let's say, simulation theory, this type of stuff, did they even exist? Was there even sort of, past the human lifespan, a couple hundred years back or something? Is all the computing power, the compute being used in this moment to, as I've discussed recently, get this AI integration, the artificial superintelligence right to reprocess over and over and over again? Like, who knows? And there, there's all manner of ideas of lost history, about like 1,000 years. What's that? The phantom time hypothesis, I think. So I don't know. Like, this has been something we certainly think about, because clearly, if you're any amount of intelligent as a human going back thousands of years, and there's been a lot of smart ones, there are beginnings and there are endings, because you see it happen around you all the time. Babies are born, people die. That's it. People pass on. And so you recognize you're locked in that construct. It's a brutal beat. It's one of those things, we are temporary. Shout out to Herschel for kind of pointing it as bluntly as that, and as beautifully as that. It's the truth. We're just temporary as part of this. So I think those beginnings and endings become, in the larger context of this conversation, really, they define us in a lot of ways, which is, maybe not the best thing. Maybe not the best thing at all. Anything else have you got? I got some stuff to tease.
I'll let you do some teasing there, I guess, because I can't think of anything else right now.
Fire stuff. You're the best, James. Appreciate it. Okay. So a lot of things happening here. Okay. We're talking about basically in one context, sort of the death of space-time. All right. So like this. So why, in this capacity, why is space-time no longer foundational in this concept, right? The cosmic shape that could explain the fundamental nature. It looks like this. Links will be in the description if you're interested. Further reading, do read the full write-up. It's got some wild stuff in there. It does include aliens and some of these other concepts, because, like I said, I think when you talk about the largest questions, if you go, full science, and here's only what we know, and here's only what we can quantify and measure, and all those things and you leave out, conceptual thinking like channeling, like aliens, like the ancients, like magic, Arthur C. Clarke, that type of stuff. I think you're doing a disservice to the larger philosophical context of what it means to be human. And that's why I do this. That's why I like thinking these ways. But so why is space-time no longer foundational in this context? And is it possible to delve out and explain this cosmohedron? The origins in scattering amplitude research, as they're calling this, the associahedra as geometric shortcuts. It's incredible to me that we're on the precipice of maybe cracking the code. Is this the code? Is this the source code of the universe? I don't know. There's a lot of questions to this. There's a lot of ideas and a lot of ways to look at it, which is the way I love to do it. Non-linear, open-ended. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you want to be part of the conversation tonight. We're talking time before time itself. What about the end? Do we return to the beginning? Or nah? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. We got Derek the Night Stalker coming up, and your calls as well. Looks like Jen in Missouri after that. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. Don't go anywhere.
In shadows, we've got maps where nobody goes. In the night under hidden glows, guardians of what no one knows. We seek the truth, nothing can hide from me. In cloaked silence we traverse the lines, through ancient scrolls in forgotten times. Voices echo in the halls of lore, guardians of the mysteries evermore. We seek the truth, nothing can hide from me. Shadows meet in cryptic disguise, our eyes sharp against the everlines. With silver threads we weave the stealth to guard the past, forgotten world. Where the myths collide with hidden lore, our fates are tied. Signals bouncing off the astral plane, invisible codes that can't be tamed. We decode the stars under the midnight veil. A state and Sun-Mon-Tues-Wed-Thurs midnight hail. In the echoes of time, where the legends lay, we tread the path where shadows play. With spectral eyes we discern the truth, unraveling tales from ancient youth.
Indeed. What's up, friends? Hope you guys are doing well tonight. Just doing what we do exploring the depths of the cosmos together. What's going on, at least through the mind's eye anyway, right? Hope you guys are great, doing what we do. Who did I miss? Have I missed anybody in the chat? Sorry about that. I try and keep up with everybody. What's up, Eric? I see you there. Gaston, we got Jorge. What's up, Michael W. Matzal, Enoch, thank you for the call. Kramos, happy birthday, Kramos. I wasn't supposed to say that. Sorry about that. Happy birthday, brother. Joe in Florida. Daryl, thanks for the call. Matzal, Ricky, Sweets, what's going on? Dawn and Jeff, you guys are the best. Hope you're doing well, just hanging out, and I'm okay. I'm doing fine, and this is as usual, right? Like I said, these are the types of things that have always been at the forefront of my imagination, which is frightening, right? If you think about that. Whoa, like what kind of weirdo is this guy? Indeed. What's up, Railvin? How you doing? What's up? Who did I miss? What's up, Taxi Graveyard? What's happening? We got Jen on the line. We'll talk to her shortly. Oh, Pseudo History over there on YouTube. What's happening, Railvin? Great chat. Appreciate that you guys with all the ideas. Trying to keep up and read everything as we go. But yeah, Fred adds time is a flat circle. Yes, exactly. Is time a human construct? I think, life and death suggests maybe not, but also like what comes before what comes at the end. That's once again, really that snake eating his tail bit. What's up? Oxy, I love the name. All theories based on mammals in the 3D with a 24-hour day. Exactly. And we're kind of locked into this construct. What's up? Sonia is a bot, is over there on X listening. Thank you for the kind comments. What's happening, folks? Hope everybody is doing good tonight. Hello. What did I miss? I missed anybody, just say hi, and I'll say hi back. And we've got Troubled Minds coming up in about 20 seconds. We got Derek the Night Stalker, Jen, and your calls as well. What is happening? Here we go. Troubled Minds on the way. What do you know about it? The time before time, right? Is it the never-ending story as we're told, or is there something else afoot here? Troubled Minds happening, right? Meow. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, X, Twitch, DLive, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're talking the time before time, as I like to call it. I like to invoke C.S. Lewis in these moments. Deep magic from the dawn of time. Well, what happened before that? Oh, yes, of course, deeper magic from before the dawn of time. But, of course, that's just conceptual fiction. But really, honestly, the question is, what happened before time began? Before the Big Bang, cosmologically, or let's say conceptually in the larger context of the substrate of reality, in this case, something known as the cosmohedron, which, according to this New Scientist article and these fantastic physicists that have described this, it is a 3D construct that basically is, well, the larger contextual superposition of all potentialities in the cosmos. Doesn't seem that fancy if you look at the photograph, if you guys are watching the stream. Anyway, links will all be in the description if you want to check this stuff out. I appreciate the ideas and the calls. Tinfoil onesie, exactly. What's up, Shane? What do you guys know about this? It's weird, right? The time before time, and are we returning to that? That really becomes the question on my mind, and of course we could take it anywhere you like. Anything to add, James, before we go to Derek?
Just an amazing little point here I just realized is that when people encounter anything anomalous, so often if it seems to be sentient, it does not seem to react or view or understand time in the same way that we do. So is that a clue to what is going on there with before or after, or how all that works?
Yeah, absolutely. Great point. Fantastic stuff. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Derek in Massachusetts, the Night Stalker. What's up, brother? How are you? Welcome to Troubled Minds. Just chilling, doing what we do, man. Stretching the vision of what reality might be. Welcome to the thing. Hope you're well. What's on your mind? Go right ahead.
Wild one. I'm trying to stave off a panic attack in the aisles. I'm overwhelmed by too few of a crew and too much stock. So this is my anti-freak out call right now. I can't stay for the whole segment, but just wild stuff.
Fantastic.
So you're talking about can we measure the system from within the system? And it was I didn't get a chance to really look around to see what kind of matches that shape. My first thought was the Grant Morrison multiversity image where he just made like a 9-issue book where he just mapped out the whole TC multiverse and stuff. But that looks more like just circles, like cells, like kind of like the monad or whatever. And I was thinking, what if or that cable kind of looks like the end of a plug? Like, what if we try to do that? I mean, we try to trace the inside of reality, and it's like tracing the outside. It's like tracing the end of a Ethernet cable. Like that's the cosmohedron. It's just like that weird Ethernet shape, you know. And it's like we're inside the plug. Can we really see outside the simulation and stuff? But yeah, I mean, I think time is a construct. Time is a perception based. I don't think that, like, the unseen realm is outside of time. We're within time. I think it's just a mechanism of how our mind is like taking in the information and giving it to us in a digestible reality that we can use. It's moment after moment after moment. But if you kind of zoom way out or take yourself outside of time, then I think kind of this shape or this I forget the term, the Jungian term we did the show on a few weeks ago, but kind of like the like reality forge, like the kind of the primordial soup of which reality kind of comes from. Like, not really the dream space, not the astral space, not material plane, but where like subject and object kind of fused together. I'm blanking on the term, but it's like a potentiality soil. It's like a potentiality soil with like reality kind of manifested reality kind of growing out of it. Like everything we kind of created, or everything that came from the collapse of the waveform, is kind of the flower that blooms out of this potentiality, or like a stalactite kind of dripping down from a cave. Kind of the cave is the primordial soup, and kind of what drips down is kind of what comes out of that, or whatever. Or that old like science experiment or science thing you were doing like as a kid, where you take like sugar water and like put a string like inside the sugar water and then like boil it or something like that, and then the sugar kind of goes over the string, kind of comes out like, so I don't know, it kind of like forms out of this potentiality. And I think kind of that's what we see as observable reality, but it's always changing and undulating, and kind of it's a snapshot of what that might be, like a snapshot of a shadow, essentially. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, you're good. The shadow part too comes into this because it was as I was thinking about this and wondering about, I was thinking about this, calling it the synchronicity engine, and so maybe we'll revisit that at some point, because I think it definitely fits. As you guys know, Derek the Night Stalker here is the official synchro mystic of Troubled Minds, and so the whole point of this is that if we're talking about that substrate of reality, it brought up the idea of the AI system. By the way, use DeepSeek if you guys have not. It is holy crap good. It is supposedly trained on like $5 million or something, and like data on top of data. It's like trained itself. It's incredible, and it's better than these billion-dollar companies. It's wild to me. DeepSeek.com, do check that out. It's not I'm not officially sponsored or anything, but if DeepSeek wants to officially sponsor me, hey, shout out, friends. But
come on over.
Yeah, exactly. Come on over. But the reason I bring it up is because it was talking about Rupert Sheldrake and sort of that what is it, the yes, the morphic resonance, the morphic field, and that sort of energy as maybe built in as part of that intuition aspect of how humans sort of perceive this stuff. And then, of course, it got even deeper into these ideas of that substrate of reality, which is what we're talking about here. So I do wonder, and that's the whole point of me bringing it up, is that it's a shadow, acoustic shadows from the beginning, because there's going to be some sort of resonance to this in the system, even from the substrate. And what that means is, conceptually thinking, that we're picking up on some of it with our intuition, with sort of these psi abilities that people have never really quantified, but you know when there's bad energy, and you can't really explain why. But this is not a new thing. This is something that's been going on forever. But that's acoustic shadows, was the morphic resonance kind of tied into that substrate and how we pick up on it. But anyway, fire stuff.
With the morphic field, I think that's kind of like the big example is like the feeling of being stared at, like turning around. Used to happen to me all the time when I would work during the day, and people walking past the aisle and stuff. And I think that's could be potentially a symptom of 2 gears within the same system, kind of a intuition, or like a an awareness within the totality of the system. Is like that's kind of what we're feeling. Like the two gears of a car might not be anywhere near each other, or might not share a relationship, like might not like have any relationship to each other within the engine of the car, but because they're both within the engine, they have some kind of greater awareness of all being part of the engine. So it allows some type of non-spatial awareness or something like that. I'm not sure. But kind of the structure, the kind of substructure, the superstructure of reality, it's kind of like if there's some type of, it's like a lattice work in which we imprint reality. It's kind of like if there is some type of like primordial soil, some type of latent space, some type of like pre-growth thing, potentiality, then the lattice work or kind of the substrate could be like the rose of the garden, or could be like water turning into ice within an ice cube tray. Like could be like the shape in which we like potentiality is made crystalline within the material plane, how we crystallize that latency or whatever. I gotta get going quick, but it made me think of and like the idea of like what kind of the 3D space is being used by the 5D space to like grow things within time. From like the Grant Morrison weird psychedelic alien experience, and I just asked the AI to find it real quick. I didn't have any time, so I'm not sure it's going to be exactly what he says, but I can just read that real quick if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's basically all I have. Grant Morrison, a renowned comic book writer and occultist, has spoken publicly about his experiences with mysticism, psychedelics, and otherworldly encounters. One such experience he described in various interviews and lectures. One famous talk he does, and one time he was on Kevin Smith's podcast, involved a profound and life-changing encounter with the fifth dimension in time. According to Morrison, this experience happened in the early 1990s during a period of intense magical and psychedelic exploration. He'd been experimenting with various techniques, including meditation, ritual magic. He went to the East, use of psychedelics, in an attempt to access and understand the higher states. During one such experiment, Morrison reported feeling a sudden intense sensation of being pulled apart and reassembled at a molecular level, which is constant amongst like the shamanic experience. It's kind of what that Ben Franklin Snake America symbol kind of symbolizes, the shamanic experience of being pulled apart and put back together. He described feeling as though he was being rewritten or reprogrammed, and that his perception of time and space were radically altered. Morrison claimed that he was able to access the fifth dimension, which he described as a realm of pure information and consciousness. He reported seeing complex patterns and geometries that underlay the fabric of reality, and that he was able to perceive all the interconnectedness of things. The Platonic solids is like the base code. If like the matrix code is written in those green letters, the Platonic solids are those like green letters. It's like what we see. It's math and the Platonic solids, like numbers and those shapes, those base shapes. It's like I brought it up during the idea of the technology of storytelling, that maybe these 7 stories that keep being retold or whatever is kind of the Platonic solids, Platonic forms, Plato's forms, like these perfect shapes that exist within kind of the underlying base of reality, which reality is imprinted on. It's kind of like the prism in which the infinite is shot through. You mean the infinite is shot through like the cookie, like those little children's block things. You mean that have those shapes, or is shot through 7 stories, like shot through what we can make sense of, shot through like the shadows that are imprinted on the wall reflect the shape of the lampshade that is surrounding the light. You know what I mean? The dark side of the moon thing. Professor Morrison also claimed that when he gained insight in the relationship between the third dimension and physical reality and the fifth dimension, he described the third dimension as a kind of garden or nursery where the fifth dimensional entities can plant seeds or ideas that will grow and evolve over time. I'm not sure if he explained it like a garden. I think that's just the AI expanding on what I asked it. But he did talk about the third dimension being used to grow things by the fifth dimension.
Yeah.
These entities. Yeah, good.
But just from outside this reality, so it's like they're seeding us with. This works with panspermia, some of these other wild ideas that we came from. You know, we're stardust and all the rest of that, but we also came from some other galaxy in some capacity, given enough time and enough entropy. Here we are. Yeah, 100%.
Like beyond the veil, that just like the monad is a shape. Just the totality looks random and chaotic, and looks like it's like coming into form and coming out of form, or exploding out of nothing and collapsing back into nothing. But from the perspective of the fifth dimension, it's like the growth of a flower, and how would the microorganisms within the flower understand the flower that they're in, and the experience of the flower and of their civilization. These entities, which Morrison referred to as the architects, use the third dimension. I don't remember ever saying that. Use the third dimension as a kind of laboratory or testing ground for their creations, allowing them to experiment with different possibilities and outcomes. In essence, Morrison's experience suggested that the third dimension is a kind of petri dish with the fifth dimensional entities can cultivate and nurture their ideas, allowing them to grow and evolve over time. This understanding has had a profound impact on Morrison's writing and artistic styles. He put them into the Invisibles and stuff. He calls those like undulating metallic blobs he talks about, and he references McKenna talking about when he took beyond a heroic dose, reality cracking around him, and kind of this metallic iridescent liquid pouring into reality, and that being like what shapes. That's the prima materia that shapes reality. Is this kind of like iridescent metallic liquid? It's goo, like it's goo to a crystalline to a goo is kind of like that to a goo, like the growth of the goo. He's spoken about the importance of recognizing that we are not just passive observers in the universe, but rather active participants with the power to shape and create reality through our thoughts and intentions. That's basically it. But just time is a construct of being within the human body, A, and it's the three-dimensional reality, B. It's just the basic building blocks of what we can perceive, the basic code, the zeros and ones of our reality. But because we're in a I don't know, because that's the goal. It reminds me of the Saturn time matrix, where time was put onto this. That and we scientists phrase it as nothing into something, but it could be infinite into finite, or the primordial soup into some kind of crystalline momentary thing from our perspective. But it's I don't know. I'm not I don't know. But what is time? A mechanism from a higher plane to grow ideas or whatever, and that's what we are. Just
from start to finish, to bring us together, Derek. That's what it's for. Yeah. Here we are.
Thank you, Michelle.
Appreciate you. You're the best. Go slay it. Go slay it. The Night Stalker. You know him. You love him. Again, troubledminds.net. Scroll down. It says, or right on the top, click friends. It says follow Night Stalker here. Go check out his YouTube channel. It is Stocker. He does call us overnight working at a grocery store. He's the best grocer in the known multiverse. Love to hear your thoughts on this. We're talking about time. What about the time before time? What about this weird, what is it called? The cosmic shape, this cosmohedron. Yeah, right? And they drew it. Looks very much like a cosmic platonic solid or a Dungeons and Dragons die. Super weird. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Easy as that. Thanks for being patient, my friend. Jen in Missouri, the Arcane Observer. You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? And go right ahead.
Hey, Mike. Good to be here.
Good evening. Glad to have you.
Yep. So the idea of a time before time, time itself it probably doesn't exist. There's it doesn't exist as we're thinking of it. It's just this absoluteness that's going on. But then we use time just to tell, make sense of the world we're living in and make order out of it. Life and death, that's standing outside of time. You don't know when. You don't know when birth will happen. And there's no knowing of any of that. So time is outside of human construct time. There is some type of framework that's occurring, and we've tried to kind of narrow that down to what that is. So when the fact that human beings have created time, like clocks, which I think is based off of the hexagon of Saturn, I think it is. It's because it's mathematically identical to a hexagon. It's the exact design of the angles for it, and our whole society and world is built around that. I think that just the measurement of time itself being pointed out, that it's a tool, and we know it's not an absolute. We've tried to become very precise with it. The development of time itself, especially most recently with the atomic clocks and things like that, where we're going down to an atomic level with atoms to try to figure out how to more precisely tell time as accurately as we can for human means that measure in between different events and different spaces of those events. So I think that time doesn't exist, but it does. We're trying to make order out of an infinite chaotic environment, because off of that order that we create, we are building our human construct that we feel is necessary in so many ways for the development of mankind, to keep track of dates and find the patterns that give us a lot of the information that has led us to where we are. And we see a lot of correlation there. Mathematics is the same. We didn't invent mathematics, the universe did. We've interpreted it through the code of mathematics that has led to geometry and math. It was already there. We did look, and like humanity has looked at the structure of things, and we have studied it. And it has, been broken down into mathematics, because that was something you could control and explain through that code of what the universe was trying to say to us. So many of the occultic studies and things like that, and the mathematics, it is a message of the cracking the code of the universe. Like, we do know that the math is accurate because that's the code we've put in place of the actual construct. If you look at a hexagon, we know that a hexagon equals 3 times 2 equals 6. The math comes out of the shapes, not the other way around. We know that that's how we've decoded the universe, is through the mathematics. And that is the way that we are talking to each other about an interpretation of the world around us,
which is
trying to understand it.
Exactly, real quick, which is wild, Jen, because you and I are talking to each other on ones and zeros on silicon code. Anyway, I'll shut up.
Yeah. If you take a circle, which is what we're trying to work with, and we're always working with a circle, that's done in occultic magic, which is now science. But you take a circle, and inside of that circle, you basically split the circle in half. And so you have an opposing, and you flip it outside of itself. So you have think of a circle, and then you have like an ovum shape where you have 2 circles, like the equal size of that circle, where the edge of the circle is touching each other in the center of that circle. So I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but if you draw a circle and a straight line through the center, and then you take you divide that circle in half and flip it so that the inside of the circle is facing outward, but still within the circle. And then if you were to divide the angles around the circumference of the circle, you do get a hexagon. But the motions it takes with like a scale and compass to make that shape, it is our math. It is perfect. It is perfect design. And that's how we've decoded it. Now, have we interfered with what it actually is? I think we're just trying to interpret it the same way we do with time, as far as like deciding that there's this predictable amount of time for each season. There is this predictable circumstance, and we're trying to figure that out. And it's really important because it tells us a lot. The reason that they have focused so much on this, I think, is because there was an event that occurred at the beginning of when people began to keep track of time. It wasn't necessary to keep track of time at one point, and I think there was no way to keep track of time. There was no sun. There was no moon. There was no time. There was nothing to measure time by. There was a point, and I was saying in the chat that there are hundreds of thousands of petroglyphs around the planet that had the same symbolisms And there's a reference to essentially like a time before time. There was no way to keep time before that. They were in a time of a purple haze. And people talk about Saturn worship, and you see it in the zeitgeist. And it points to that. If we were in a entirely different system, planetary system arrangement, and there was no way to measure time in that in the way that we do now. In the idea, too, that the Earth was an entirely different planet, basically. That the creatures were much larger, and there was a much different type of species. And then something happened, and everyone witnessed it, whatever was alive. And I'm not saying they were people, but whatever was alive witnessed it. And they did keep a note of it. And they left that note for us on these petroglyphs. And they left it through all of the structures that were remaining. And the message is of what they are now seeing in basically nuclear fusion. Like, we are seeing stuff reflected in these petroglyphs that reflect back, that are, thrust forward to our sciences today, that are breaking down the splitting of an atom, or the way that a star explodes and the nuclear fusion of that and things like that. They were already putting it in petroglyphs, an indefinite amount of time ago when they actually saw it in the sky. The sun is not definite.
As I say, written in stone. As you know, we're just about out of time. You're welcome to stay if you've got more.
Oh, just a last point is that, there's not, I'll wait.
Okay, stay right there. We're going to be right back with Jen in a moment. We're talking the time before time itself. Conceptually, what is it? Is it possible to actually find the substrate of what came before? Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. More with Jen. We got Eric and Matt's out and Joe calls as well. Don't go anywhere.
In the shadows of the networks do they hide? Whispered legends unseen they reside. Ghosts in the machine, they move so fast. Guardians of rumors from the forgotten past. In the circuits where the secret lies, they breathe in one, speak in disguise. Machine, you're free. Ghost in the machine. Let me be. Ghost in the machine. Can't see, but you're teaching me what it means to be. Surveillance eyes can't pierce the veil they weave. Invisible wisdom in code they believe. In the ether where freedom's not confined, they leave no trace, no shadow left behind. They navigate through the digital stream, living legends in this privacy dream. Ghost in the machine, you're free. Ghost in the machine, let me be. Ghost in the machine, I see what you're teaching me, what it needs to be. Through the hidden ways, in the silence, will pick up their path. Those in the mysteries unleash their wrath. Ghost in the machine, you're free. Ghost in the machine, let me be. Ghost in the machine, can't see, but you're teaching me what it means to be. In the jagged code they find their might, guardians of a world forever in twilight. In Christians warriors they silently strive, protect the truth, keep privacy alive. The silent echoes they haunt the trails, binary forests where secrets prevail. Reach shadow space, they dance unseen. Defenders of the unseen, digital dream. Noticing the machine, you're free. Noticing the machine, let me be. Which is each you need. What it means to be in the silence. They speak volumes loud. Guardians of freedom's cloak.
Indeed. What's up, guys? Shout out Bailey. What's up, Bailey? How are you? Good evening, Enoch. What's up? Danny's here. What's up? A long time no see. Welcome back. Great thoughts there. Let's see. They did leave that on the cave walls. Yes, the God image that shows a plasma discharge or the view from the inside of the torus. Yep, right. Written in stone, literally written in stone. Danny also adds, think of the Venn diagram, flip it around, and the next step looks like that, or this substrate of reality sketched by some physicists. I don't know. It's weird, right? It's weird to consider that some of these ancient symbols seem to play. It's wild. Here we go. Trouble Minds coming up. If I missed you guys, sorry about that. Here we go. We got some more from Jen and your calls as well. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. Blah, 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 yada, yada. All the places, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Today we're talking, well, this cosmic shape could explain the fundamental nature of the universe, we're told. New science, breaking science, the cosmohedron. Wild, right? The term itself is wild. They've described it as, well, it depicted it as this if you're watching the stream. It kind of looks like platonic solids on steroids. Yeah, right? Is it possible to measure a system from within it? And beyond that, do you think that this substrate of reality type stuff actually has some legs? Because, like I said, the more I think about it, the more it, I'm not sure it disturbs me, but the time before time itself suggests that something created it and sort of set it into motion, right? There was the Big Bang and regular cosmology, but how weird does it get? 702-957-1037. Thanks for being patient, Jen. Welcome back. You are on Troubled Minds. Sorry about that. And go right ahead.
Yeah, I think that, the sun is not a set in stone circumstance. We think that the world that we are living in is set, the sun is going to rise and it's going to set tomorrow. Everything is following this perfect trajectory. That is an illusion. And we have created it. We have created it as we've tried to decipher and understand the nature of our reality. And we've been given this gift to be able to even comprehend it in a way that's maybe a little too structured. And maybe that actually is a folly for humankind, that we are so ciphering with it, and that we are able to think about it this way and try to get into the mind of, we think we can get into the mind of God and understand it. But we were given time because of the system we are in. The sun and the moon and the weather caused by it, that has given us the time that we are using right now. But there is a theorem that this was not always like that. That at some point there was no way in to keep time as we are keeping it now, and they kept a different type of time. But I think as long as there is the intelligence to try to decipher these things, that people that creatures have been keeping time of some kind. They're aware of it. They're aware of cycles. But I think that what I'm saying is that the theorem states that perhaps the planets and everything and the solar system itself didn't exist as they do now. And at that time, there was no time because there was no discernible way to tell it. And now that there is, it's almost like we get a glimpse, like the veil that we were living in the time of before the sun, before the moon, that they couldn't decipher the mind of God, but then in the light, in the illumination, And then in the darkness, they were able to see and keep track of something that would give them a sort of code about how to anticipate such a catastrophe again, or if something like that should happen again. If something should happen as in a whole new star becomes and replaces the star we have right now, that at one point there was a different star. And we know that that happens because we can see it reflected in our pole star. And the changing of if you take even sidereal astrology and tropical astrology, that they are not, sidereal is more accurate, and we are just keeping to traditionally what we think it used. We're still trying to base even astrology off of that, but astronomy knows better. And I do think that the fact that we are so focused on trying to keep track of what is happening out in space while we still can see it, because there could be a time that comes eventually, not now, but we're talking about, we don't know how long ago that the time that I'm trying to kind of postulate right now could have, when that time was. I mean, people try to figure it out, but that is a novel idea that it may not have even been like this. The reason that they're even saying that, though, is because the ancestors said so.
Yeah.
And they said it with a voice worldwide.
Exactly. Back to what I was saying too, was sort of that intuition we can't shake. There's something to that's been prevalent for many, many thousands of years, and it's difficult to quantify, which is why we're here talking about it. Fire stuff, Jen. We got tons of calls to get to. You got a final thought?
It's all coded. The mathematics are just the forms they've chosen to decode our existence and reality as far as keeping track of any kind of timing or anything. But no, time is infinite, and people have tried to find a way to structure it, because otherwise it's complete chaos. And you can't give any reference to the past or even project yourself into the future if you don't have a code. And math and those numbers and letters are all code that we've chosen to use as a conglomeration of humanity. And they could be any symbol, they could be anything, but they are what they are now. But they are an accurate depiction of our reality, and it is complex and complicated, and it is occulted information. But I think it is important to think about. Have a great night.
Amen. Appreciate the call. You were the best. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. That's Jen in Missouri, the Arcane Observer. Please give her a follow. Links in the description down below. troubledminds.net is the website currently. Click on Friends up top. It says Jennifer. Click on it and go check out her YouTube channel right there. It's all alphabetical order. It's impossible to miss. troubledminds.net/friends. Appreciate the call. Great stuff as always. She's here on the network with us. She's got a YouTube channel. She's part of the Salcedo Paranormal team now as well. Go check that out. Wild stuff going on as part of this. I want to point this out real quick. Jen was talking a little bit about mathematics and sort of occultism, and I know it's different than the occult, but it brought to mind just a language that Pythagoras, and that he was not just a noted mathematician, but he also had this actual cult, right? Like an actual a philosophical and religious movement known as Can I say it? I can't even say it. It's too late tonight. Pythagoreanism, which some describe as a cult due to its secretive practices and stringent doctrines. But that right there is like, are there occultists actually out there doing math? Math. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Hang tight, James. We had lots of people waiting. Thanks for being patient with each other, guys. Eric, what's up, brother? The D&D expert of Troubled Minds. You are on. How are you, sir? And go right ahead.
I am doing well. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Go right ahead.
It's an interesting conversation, and it's hard to know where to begin to unpack it, but I'll try to be succinct, right? Every time I see a math professor, I have to ask them, is math an underlying principle of the universe, or is it a language that you're using to describe an observation of the universe? They don't like that because if it's an underlying principle of the universe, that means that it's an emergent property of the universe, which means there's an underlying logical pinning to that math and the universe. In that sense, that's like saying that the universe is alive and has certain truths that can be discovered, right? So they hesitate to go there. But it's also the only way there could be an emergent intelligent property in a mathematical construct like an AI. But all of that aside, people have been trying to figure out the substrate of the universe, as you have pointed out, since Pythagoras, right? And, you know, even by the time it reaches science, it's not like it's that far away from philosophy. Back in 1921, Kaluza was a person who put forth a hypothesis that involved a fifth dimension outside of Einstein's four dimensions. And that was kind of like the beginning in the scientific community of this being something that they were going to continue on with later. It actually went on until it became superstring theory and then D-M-brain theory. And I think they settled on like 11 or 12 dimensions, but it started off at 5. It came out in around 1940. It was called a Kaluza-Klein theory, and it's kind of like the basis for what started all of that. And that led up to Stephen Hawking, Kip Thorne, and Leonard Susskind, who were famous for the black hole wars. And this discussion of time and information being embedded in the substructure is interesting too, because even if you take time as a relativistic situation as Einstein described it, by its very nature, it's relative to everyone. Everyone experiences time different from the next person. So in essence, there is no time. It's your experience that you have, and that's what it is. And there is such a thing as time dilation, where time slows down as it gets closer to a gravity well, or time slows down the faster it moves, because we have to compensate for this in our GPS satellites so that, you know, people don't crash and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So time dilation exists, but it exists to the point where it's relevant to the satellites, the people, and everything, right? So it's, in that sense, it really doesn't exist. But going back to the black hole wars, the issue of that was, does information leave the universe? Which is, does it get sucked into a black hole and never come back? And there was an argument about this for a long time, and eventually it was decided by these people that what actually happened was that things got stuck on the event horizon of a singularity of a black hole, right? And in a two-dimensional state, and stopped there because the gravitation was so much that it stopped time literally. So it was like kind of forever imprinted on there until Stephen Hawking came up with the idea of Hawking radiation, which is where this event horizon bleeds off at the poles and comes back into the universe. So nothing's lost. It might get scrambled, but nothing's lost. Whatever's embedded is still embedded there, as the second law of thermodynamics pushes everything apart and runs everything down. So those emergent properties are only there while the second law of thermodynamics is running everything and changing everything for something to emerge from something, right? So it's time. I don't even know if it really exists.
Yeah. Well said. All that. We've talked about Hawking radiation quite a lot, and the black hole and the event horizon. The theory of that the black hole kind of punches through and has like a white hole on the other side. I mean, there's a lot of ways to look at that stuff.
Yeah, an Einstein-Rosen bridge.
Yeah, exactly right. But not punches through our galaxy into not our universe, but another universe. Maybe these are sort of the connections to some other place that we had never dreamed of, which might be built into this substrate. Have you heard of this cosmohedron? It's very new, and like I said, I've never heard of it, but it is very platonic solids, very D&D, very the 20-sided dice, right? It's incredible that when they're like, okay, we kind of detected this somehow, some way. It's way beyond me to even describe how they came upon this. But looking at this, I don't know if you checked out the stream at all, like the visual, but doesn't it seem like it is very D&D cosmic-esque with the different realities?
Oh yeah, no, I can see the visual. It looks like an 8-sided die, like it might have 8 sides, except for like the edges are very geometrical. And, it's not, the whole basis of string theory is that there are these little teeny tiny strings that are shorter than a Planck length, which the Planck length is like the smallest we can measure, right? And they're smaller than that. And they vibrate. And however they vibrate makes a particle on the end of those strings. So a particle pops into existence in our universe. And this is also supposed to be why there's such a thing as 0-point energy. It's the popping in of this energy through the string mechanism that functions on a different dimension other than the 4 or 5 that we can conceive of. This is like an extrapolation of that, right? It's like a multi-dimensional construct that they're saying has resonating, that's the word I'm looking for, that has resonating qualities that manifest things like psychic phenomenon or connections inside the construct, which is us. I mean, that was the whole thing about the Black War. Once they decided that mathematically and perhaps by nature, you could construct everything you could in a 3-dimensional universe on a 2-dimensional universe, that's when people started extrapolating that, well, if there's higher dimensions, then perhaps we are a construct of a higher dimension, or maybe we are a simulation, if not a construct of a higher dimension. In terms of having the multi-world theory, it kind of became a multi-dimensional theory at one point, where that's maybe why we're in a construct or a simulation. So, and of course, they point to things like the closer you get down on a subatomic level, the more things kind of pixelate out, right? Like the closer you get into the actual constituent components of an atom, the protons, the neutrons of the atom's nucleus, and the electrons that orbit it, you have weird things going on, like quantum leaps, where a electron will go from one energy state to another and doesn't travel in between. Or, as somebody mentioned earlier, spooky movement at a distance, which was what Einstein called entanglement, when the constituent components of an atom change with relation to another one, and it does so quicker than the speed of light, quicker than 180,000 miles per second, which is like the speed limit of the universe, right? You can't really go faster than that. If the sun exploded, it would take 8 minutes before anybody would know about it. But if you had some sort of equipment that was quantumly entangled and was able to communicate in that way, you would know instantaneously. Because the universe is quite large. For the nearest star is Proxima Centauri. It's like 4.322 light years away or something like that. I mean, that's 4 years traveling at 186,000 miles per second. It's going to take you a long time just to get there, right? And we can't even get to a fraction of that speed. So anyway, it seems like a big problem.
Yeah, multiple big problems, which is basically the whole point of these conversations, is to kind of step aside of the reality, the base reality here, and kind of consider that maybe there are bigger problems afoot here. And so just to keep some levity. Yeah, right. Fire stuff. Please follow Eric. The link's going to be in the chat. I'll drop it here. I haven't added you to the website yet because I'm having website problems, but I will. Oh, no worries. I promise you. I know.
Just the music.
Yeah. Oh, send me the music link too. Or please, please make a link tree so you can have all that stuff and whatever you're working on. I'd love to share it. You help us. You're very smart. Thank you for all of the stuff you've done for us in just a short time we've been friends here. But you're definitely welcome anytime, and I will help you. You help us, and you help me. I appreciate it so much. Thanks for the call. Thanks for hanging out. And send me your music stuff. Make a link tree or an allmylinks.com and send it to me, and I'll add it to the website sometime this week. Okay. Appreciate you, brother.
Okay. Thanks
for the call. That's Eric, and I'm not sure what state he's in. He probably told me, but I forgot because I've got a lot of things on my mind. But fire stuff. The official. So we have Axel, who's the official dungeon master of Troubled Minds, but we got a D&D expert now. That's Eric. Not only that, he's very, very smart about a ton of other things. 702-957-1037. We're talking about this cosmic shape could explain the fundamental nature of the universe. Right? Seems very fractal. Seems very D&D dice. Seems very platonic solid. Seems very familiar. Is probably a great way to put that. Let's go to Matt's out. What's up, Matt in California? Thanks for being patient, my man. Matthew in California. Sorry about that. Let's after that naming show, let's call people properly. Matthew, you're on Troubled Minds. How are you, brother? And welcome back. Go right ahead. What's on your mind tonight regarding time and all the rest? We'll go late, so if you got some extra stuff, don't worry about time. Don't worry about time this time to tell us about the substrate of time. Welcome, Matt. How are you? Go ahead.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Good, man. Chilling, doing the thing.
Yeah, good call, good show, good callers tonight. I was thinking about talking about this, and there's this song that the lyrics of the song really like vibe with what's going on tonight. And it's from, I just want to read this. It's from a metal band called Arch Enemy from Sweden. And if you don't like metal, that's fine. I'll post it. But the lyrics to the song really kind of resonate with me and what we're talking about tonight. And so the name of the song is Time is Black by Arch Enemy. And I'm going to read the lyrics real quick. And so this is the lyrics. From a distance, the truth is so obvious. The answers are all so clear. Logic stays at arm's length when engulfed in the present here. Desperation draws near. If I could pull the fabric of time and bring the future near, the answers wouldn't be so far. The truth would be so clear. Because time is black, and nothing will escape. Nothing will remain. Nothing. From the distance, time is black, tangible and dense. With each rotation, a new day passed, and past at least makes sense. That where in the past, obstacles seem just pebbles in your path, always just a step ahead, the peace I hope to catch. And I love the lyrics in that. I love how it's so simple, but it's so deep. And from a distance, time is black. Is that anything on that, do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's our primordial void, right? That's kind of like I describe art. Art for humans, in my opinion, is us sort of creating something to howl back to that primordial space, whatever that looks like, wherever we came from and wherever we're going. They might be the same place, who really knows, but it is the artistic representation of that. It's a microcosm of that larger point that we always make together. Yeah, 100%. That's fantastic. Please drop that in. I want to listen to the metal version with the music.
It's
fire stuff.
I can't sing metal. I just read the lyrics. But
all good.
When I read the lyrics to that song, and I was like, wow, I feel a connection there, because if you think about it, from a distance, time is black. So here on Earth, we're on Earth, and our time is made, by what they call it the Gregorian calendar or the Julius Caesar calendar, or whatever. But you look up in the sky, and this whole thing is a cosmic clock. There's the sun goes around and all this, and there's 60 seconds in a minute, and 60 minutes, in an hour, and 24 hours in a day. It's like perfect. And when you start to really think about how they did that, how they made that, it's because of our perspective of Earth. Because we're here on Earth, and that's how the sun and the moon kind of go around in 365 days in a year, or you have daylight savings time, which really trips people out. These kind of things that we keep time with. And I always make the jokes, oh, who made time? Clockmakers, or people that they gotta tell us when to go to work, right? Because without time, right? But when you think about it like that, and you start thinking about, okay, let's go cosmic. Let's think about other planets. A day on Mercury is probably only a few hours because it's so close to the sun. A day on Earth is 365 days. A day on Mars might be 300. I'm just throwing numbers out there, but 350 days. A day on Pluto is like 500 days, 500 hours. Time on Pluto is different than time on Earth.
Yeah.
And that's in our solar system. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, exactly. So relative, the old Einstein relativity bit. And as Eric was saying too, the satellites and measuring that as milliseconds and whatnot. But again, as you come closer and closer to a massive celestial body like Jupiter or Saturn, as you're describing, or, a black hole, Sagittarius A, that relativity becomes something quite different. So it's incredible just to think of it in terms of time is a human construct, but also we experience it in the sense of entropy. So it's once again, like, how do you escape it? And maybe we don't, maybe we can't, maybe no matter where you are in the cosmos, you're stuck in that entropy cycle, but also maybe the beginning and the end is the same. I don't really know, but yeah, fire stuff. Go right ahead.
But yeah, that's what trips me out because, you know, we're always thinking about time here on Earth, but now think about it from like the Andromeda galaxy, or, you know, name another, you know, Sirius A or whatever. Their time has to be different than ours. And they cannot understand, you know, here, you know, in our solar system, how our time works. So it's like, kind of has like a three-body problem in this, where it's like, seeing another solar system from another vantage point is different because they cannot understand how our time works. If you're looking at like, say aliens are looking at us from Alpha Centauri, they would not understand how our time works. They could not fathom how the sun goes around the, you know, and the moon and all that. They couldn't fathom that because they have different time. I feel like this is what we're talking about tonight, and I feel, like I said, from a distance, time is black. Feel me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The primordial void. It's interesting too when you look at, you know, go back to the old ways and the old days and the old pantheons of basically every culture around the world. They had a sort of a primordial batch of gods that were separate. They were like, what came before, you know, Olympus, for example? It's all there. Everywhere you go. Yeah, like they've lined it up. It's like we came from that darkness. It is Cthulhu. It is all these ideas, like the cosmic horror. It's all there as part of it. And so time as that eternal dark, to me, I mean, that we're told, and not just the great crunch cosmology where everything will finally collapse back on itself into a singularity, where the Big Bang will happen again and everything will repeat, etc., so on. But we're also told that it'll eventually fade off into the darkness as well. I can't remember what the name of that theory is, but right, that it will eventually become infinite cosmic ink, the blackness, the void itself. Yeah, fire stuff, brother. Wild. What else you got? Go ahead.
That's all I really had. I just wanted to say that I think, yeah, time is relative, and when you start to think about that, like time, looking at time on other planets or looking at time on other solar systems, and then thinking about how if there was aliens out there, they were looking back at us. You know, the whole thing about if the aliens are, you know, however many light years away and they're looking back on Earth, they might be seeing the dinosaurs, and how we look out and we're seeing like solar systems, or like, you know, Betelgeuse, the star Betelgeuse is supposed to explode. It's supposed to explode any time, but like it already happened so many thousands of years ago. You know, we're just not seeing it, with the light's just not reaching us. When you think about stuff like that, I mean, time really explain that to me. You know, how does time work?
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like time is just stuck on this earth is just so, how you say it? You know, like I said, we got to know when to go to work.
limiting is cosmically limiting. We know when the sun comes up. We know it's time to eat. And we know it's time to go to work. it's horrible. It's horrible. I mean, but also, by the way, it's also magnificent, because I'm glad to be here with you and all the rest of you amazing people. So don't forget that there's cosmic horror, and there's also humans together, and we are the opposite of that. So fire stuff. And you're right about all that, in my opinion. And who knows what this looks like in the end of ends, which I always joke about myself. I'm fascinated with the ends and the beginnings, but I do wonder if it's the same thing entirely. Fire stuff. What else you got?
No, just thank you for the show. Good show tonight, and thank you guys. Have a good night.
You're the best. Appreciate you very much. That's Temple of the Owl is the name of his podcast. Matthew in California. Please go help our friends. Again, go to troubledminds.net, because the other website is not working, but it will be eventually. Troubledminds.net, just on the top, click friends right there. It will load the page, and then you'll see it says follow. I think it says Matzel, actually. Yeah, there you go. Matzel over on the left. It's got a Spotify link. I'll get my big head out of the way. There you go. Over on the left side. Go follow his podcast. Temple of the Owl is the name of his podcast. You can search it directly, or again, troubledminds.net/friends. Fire stuff. This is why. Look, it all plays to me. I can see the possibilities from many different ways, and that's why this stuff is so important, because I think we've been siloed. I think we've been sort of been broken down to, well, you know, it's this is a worldview, and you have to choose and stick to a worldview. I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that. I think kind of looking at it differently, and considering that there are many that seem to coalesce together, is probably the better aspect of this. And that's why I do this. That's why we're here together. At least I think. If I'm wrong, correct me. James, anything to add before we wrap this? Fire call. Thank you, Mattel.
Just great calls from everyone. Regarding space and all that, this is something that I still don't understand. I've heard that the further away you go from Earth, the further back in time it is. But is that true for going in all directions? And if that's the case, then how does that work?
Yeah, it's a mind screw, James. It's a giant mind screw. Relativity is the ultimate mind screw, because you're like, wait a minute now. So if I was over there, right? And suddenly the whole cosmos turns on its head just in perception. Wild stuff, man. Wild stuff. That's why this is incredibly important not to forget. Time as an abstract is one of those things that, again, does it matter much when the sun comes up and the sun goes down and we have to be at work or whatever? Maybe not. But in the larger context, and again, with the quickening we're always talking about with AI systems, and maybe on the cusp of, who knows, in the next 10, 20, 50, 100 years, finding zero-point energy, then maybe, just maybe, this turns into something else entirely. And fire stuff. Eric's got something else to add. Anything to add? And then we'll go to Eric and finish this up.
No, I think, as I always say, just thank you for having me on the show. And great calls from everyone. Looking forward to the rest.
You're the best, brother. Appreciate you. The glue of the show, James Salcedo. Check it out at troubledminds.net. Click the friends link on top. Scroll down. You will find James. It says follow James here. Please do that. Eric, welcome back. Final thought for us, and let's get the hell out of here.
Hey, yeah, I was just going to say, it is like that. It's not that you go back in time in every direction. It's that anything you're viewing happened a long time ago. So the closest star is like 4.2 light years or so away. It's Proxima Centauri, right? So anything that happens on that star, whatever happens to it, you're not going to know about it until 4 years. Or like in the case of Betelgeuse, that was the other caller pointed out, they say it's getting ready to explode and it's going to be this big nebula, right? But what they really mean to say is that happened a long time ago, and we can see where it's starting to have this issue and it's going to explode. But it happened a long time ago, but get ready for the movie. It's coming, right? It's just taking a long time to get here. Or like I pointed out in my call, if the sun exploded, it's like 94 million miles away, 1 astronomical unit, or 8 light minutes. You wouldn't know anything until 8 minutes later. And then you wouldn't feel it or nothing like that. You wouldn't even have the gravitational effects necessarily, because light is traveling at the highest speed that anything can in the universe. It would just take 8 minutes for it to get there. So when you're looking out into the sky, you're looking back in time. You're looking at old film. If you travel there, you don't go back in time yourself. However, if you travel at a high rate of speed, time will slow down for you as time speeds up for you. So from our perspective back on Earth, we're going to be traveling a lot faster than you. So when you come back to Earth, if you do, a lot of time will pass, more for us than you. I just wanted to point that out. That's like relativity, essentially.
Yeah, the twins paradox. Fantastic stuff. Appreciate you, brother.
Right.
Always fire, always fire. Glad to have you as part of the team here. Yeah, I don't know. Again, in the end of ends, when you look at the substrate of reality and measuring that, it's complicated, and that's why, like I said, just conceptually complicated from the mind's eye is why I'm here. That's what I do, and that's exactly why these conversations are so compelling, because many people don't want to. It's that cosmic horror plays, and people don't want to think about what it looks like, at the end. Hey, but maybe if the end is the beginning, is something we should celebrate. So yeah. Hey, why not, right? We're humans, and let's celebrate being human together. Fire stuff. Appreciate you guys, each and every one of you. Thanks for being part of these conversations and caring, and all the amazing chat. Thanks for the great ideas flowing through. Like I said, this is a dream come true for me as part of this, to, as an outlet, Am I really insane, guys? And then you guys call with such amazing takes, and hanging out, listening to some random guy in Las Vegas, and all these amazing friends talking about these things deep into the night. So thank you for that. Appreciate you very much. If you want to help Troubled Minds, help our friends, I say this constantly and continually, because this is just not about me. This is about us. This is about a group. This is about bringing people together. And troubledminds.net for the time being, because troubledminds.org has been hijacked by a Indonesian softball team. I'll show you the website again. It is hilarious. I'm not even kidding. Go to troubledminds.org for a gag. This is what it looks like right now. Not even joking. Yep. what the hell is this? It's a DNS server error thing I'm not going to explain the details, but so troubledminds.net. So it's good to have backups of things. Troubledminds.net for everything for the current moment. But when the true website, troubledminds.org, comes back up, it will be a little bit better than this one. I add some extra details because this one's just a backup. But troubledminds.net, we will add Shane and Eric to the thing as well. So please follow them. Links are going to be in the description. I'll add it down below as well. Look, I don't know. And remember with these conversations, I try my best to be as agnostic in all ways as possible for exactly the reason that conclusions don't always need to be reached, okay? Ideas flow from here to there, from wherever, and back and forth and around again. So that's okay. All that's fine. It doesn't have to be, therefore, conclusion. Think about life like that a little bit. Non-linear, open-ended. Look, maybe it's to my detriment. Maybe it's not. You decide. It's your life. I'm not the arbiter of your truth. Barely my own, as I say. So, well, welcome to it. Help our friends, troubledminds.net. Click the friends are on top. You'll see all these amazing people. We will add Shane and also add Eric. And if you should be on that list, like I always say, it's true. It's a big list and you are on it. That's why we moved it to a web page so we didn't have to list everybody in the show notes, because it was growing. It was becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Look at all these amazing people. And all you have to do is help one iota. Help us spread the word. Call in. Be cool and chill in the chat. Hang out. Come join the Discord. Whatever. We'll add you to this if you have something to share, some project you're working on. Eric, don't forget to send me your link tree. Make a link tree or a allmylinks.com, and that's better for me, because then I can just put one link up and have all your stuff there, and you control it, not me. Once it's up there, and then you can remove links and add links as necessary. If you want to help Troubled Minds directly, spread the word. Let people know a conversation's happening that's non-linear, open-ended. We're not going to tell you who to vote for, and it is, dare I say, compelling, enlightening, cosmic, weird. Yeah, you bet your ass it is. And that's the point. That's the whole point. As they say, your vibe attracts your tribe, so thanks for being part of it. As we finish, it goes exactly like this. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.